Chapter 1945. Another banquet in An's province. The realization that their hometown was within easy reach, just a few days' journey away, brought a sense of closeness that narrowed the perceived distance in their hearts. No longer did they feel the overwhelming loneliness of being isolated at the edge of the world. Instead, they found solace in this newfound proximity. This sense of ease was palpable, offering genuine comfort to their hearts. As parents, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan found themselves immersed in numerous social engagements during the Spring Festival, leaving them with little free time. Fortunately, no affluent family in An's province dared to challenge the authority of Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao. Consequently, Xiao Xian was finally able to relish the happiness of being the wife of a local government official. While Xiao Xian harbored no grudges from the past, first Madame Fan extended an invitation for her to attend a banquet. With a gracious smile, Xiao Xian accepted, despite her lingering aversion toward the Fan family. As the wife of the prefect, she understood the importance of maintaining decorum and refrained from letting personal preferences dictate her social interactions. Remarkably, the once influential Fan family now adopted a more subdued approach. While they traditionally hosted the first spring banquet, this year they chose to schedule it for the 12th of the first month, almost at the conclusion of the Spring Festival. The scale of the banquet hosted by the Fan clan this year was notably smaller compared to previous years. In truth, the Fan family was currently in a state of embarrassment and humility. The prospect of hosting a banquet seemed daunting, given the stark contrast in their status. They would feel ashamed even if they attempted to treat their guests lavishly. Nevertheless, they had no choice but to extend an invitation to Lord Xiao. The consequences of not inviting him would only compound their embarrassment further, as rumors and speculations from outsiders would likely exacerbate their predicament. Fortunately, Xiao Xian found no reason to decline the invitation, demonstrating her willingness to visit, much to the relief of the two patriarchs and the two matriarchs of the Fan family. Madame Xiao's visit signaled Lord Xiao's leniency toward the Fan family and the bandits. Despite this, the Fan clan remained cautious, maintaining a low profile. When Xiao Xian arrived as the prefect's wife, it was expected that Old Lady Fan would personally welcome her and extend polite greetings, demonstrating the Fan family's sincerity. However, due to her advanced age, Old Lady Fan hesitated to subject herself to such discomfort. Instead, she chose to remain secluded within her courtyard, feigning illness as an excuse to avoid the social interaction. Fan Ruyan, likewise, struggled with the situation. Despite her reluctance to lower her status in front of Xiao Xian, her daughter persistently urged her to reconcile with Madame Xiao to secure her attendance at the banquet. Unable to dissuade her daughter, Fan Ruyan had no choice but to agree. Bai Rui took great care in preparing for the occasion, meticulously selecting attire and jewelry while inquiring about Xiao Xian's preferences, as well as those of her maids. This gesture both pained and gratified Fan Ruyan. While she couldn't shake the remorse for past events that had led to her daughter's suffering, she found solace in Bai Rui's maturity and willingness to shoulder the family's burdens. On the day of the Fan family's banquet, Xiao Xian, as customary, invited Mrs. Jia to accompany them. Upon their arrival, the women of the Fan family and the early arriving guests eagerly went out to welcome them. The two matriarchs of the Fan family greeted them with careful smiles as they all proceeded into the reception hall and took their seats. As pleasantries were exchanged, gifts were presented, and tea was served by the Fan family's maids, the atmosphere gradually warmed with laughter and conversation. However, Fan Ruyan remained reticent throughout the proceedings, fearful that speaking might lead to an outburst of anger towards Xiao Xian. It was a struggle she couldn't avoid, as her emotions threatened to overwhelm her. Thus, she chose silence as her refuge. Chapter 1946. Puzzlement. Fan Ruyan, visibly distressed on the sidelines, harbored such intense disdain for Xiao Xian that she found herself continuously mocking and mentally rebuffing her throughout the event. In stark contrast, Bai Rui's concern for Xiao Xian was palpable. Despite her junior status, she couldn't help but keep a watchful eye on Xiao Xian, occasionally stealing glances that puzzled those around her. However, her gaze was devoid of hostility. Xiao Xian, with her keen intuition, eventually sensed Bai Rui's genuine concern. Initially oblivious, she soon recognized the sincerity behind the younger woman's actions. This unexpected behavior left Xiao Xian perplexed. She never imagined that Fan Ruyan's daughter would harbor a desire to befriend her. Uncertain of the mother and daughter's motives, Xiao Xian couldn't shake the feeling of apprehension. However, the prospect of Fan Ruyan reforming her ways instilled a sense of cautious hope. Despite her skepticism, Qiao Xian found solace in the notion that Fan Ruyan was at least fearful. In her eyes, that fear served as a deterrent, ensuring that the event proceeded without incident. As the day came to a close, and the Fan family bid farewell to Qiao Xian without any disruption, a sense of relief washed over the two matriarchs, finally allowing them to exhale the tension that had plagued them throughout the gathering. After bidding farewell to the guests, the two matriarchs finally allowed themselves to relax, feeling deeply exhausted yet satisfied with the successful outcome of the event. However, second Mrs. Fan didn't immediately retire to her courtyard for rest. Instead, she sought out her sister-in-law to discuss the day's events. She couldn't help but express her confusion, remarking, "Today was quite intriguing, wasn't it? Despite our sister-in-law refraining from causing trouble after being taught a lesson, I can't quite fathom Ruirua's behavior. In the past, she was always in cahoots with her mother, singing praises to old lady Fan. But today, she seized the opportunity to cozy up to Madame Xiao and shower her with flattery. It's as if the sun is rising from the west." Second Mrs. Fan continued. "And did you notice her attire? Normally, she prefers flashy and ostentatious outfits adorned with gold and silver embellishments. Yet today, she exuded a much more refined and elegant aura, especially with those striking snow-green embroidered chrysanthemums." First Madame Fan furrowed her brow, equally perplexed by Ruirua's sudden change in behavior. After pondering for a moment, she offered a tentative explanation. "Perhaps this is just a phase of adolescence. Given the recent upheavals in the family, it's possible that Ruirue has undergone some internal changes. From what I observed, she seems to possess a bit more resilience than her mother." Second Mrs. Fan scoffed. "I hope you're right. If that mother and son duo continues their scheming, our family will truly be in dire straits. No one can endure being tormented repeatedly. In my opinion, even if that girl is frightened, there's no need for her to ingratiate herself with Madame Xiao. It's better to keep her distance from Madame Xiao and the state government altogether. That's the safest course of action." Second Mrs. Fan's fear was palpable. After all, Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao had dealt with such formidable mountain bandits. What weight did the Fan family carry in comparison? It was almost laughable. Thanks to that self-righteous woman's actions, they had no real rapport with Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao. Despite attempting to move past previous conflicts, they remained marginalized compared to other families. Therefore, it was deemed fortunate to maintain a considerable distance from them, ensuring a stable life with no concerns about sustenance while safeguarding their existing industries. Chapter 1947. Interrogation. Restoring the prosperity of the past, at least for the next few years, seemed impossible. Second Mrs. Fan acknowledged this reality with a pragmatic outlook, harboring little attachment to past glories. As the wife of First Madame Fan, she was perhaps even less willing to accept this truth, yet she could bear it. She begrudgingly admitted its validity. But when it came to Fan Ruyan and her daughter Ayuro, First Madame Fan pondered for a moment before deciding, "I will speak with them." Second Mrs. Fan nodded in agreement. "That's right, sister-in-law. Don't forget." Once Second Mrs. Fan departed, First Madame Fan remained seated, quietly sipping her tea. After a while, she set down her cup and summoned someone. Then, she proceeded to the courtyard where Fan Ruyan and Bo Ruirue resided. First Madame Fan chose her words carefully. Fan Ruyan couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. What had she done to deserve this reprimand? Was it her conduct at the banquet today? Was her sister-in-law intentionally causing her trouble? Unable to contain her frustration, Fan Ruyan lashed out, venting her pent-up emotions. Feeling aggrieved and infuriated, she physically assaulted First Madame Fan. First Madame Fan's expression darkened as she responded with icy composure. "I was merely offering a friendly reminder. We can't afford any more trouble for our family. Madame Xiao's presence at today's banquet, and its smooth proceedings, are hard-won. Am I wrong to remind you of this?" Fan Ruyan sneered. "Sister-in-law, you're underestimating me. Do you really believe I would cause trouble? Would I harm my own family? Remember, this is my family too." First Madame Fan initially refrained from addressing Fan Ruyan directly, focusing instead on the matter at hand. However, she couldn't ignore Fan Ruyan's insinuations. Nevertheless, she chose not to engage further. Instead, she cast a meaningful glance at Bararui and remarked, "Don't dwell on it too much, sister. I'm not one to stir up trouble without cause. I have my own reasons for being here." It's unusual for me to visit Madame Xiao when I have free time. Naturally, I'm curious. It's only natural for me to inquire more. Fan Ruyan, absorbed in her grievances towards Qiao Xian, failed to notice the subtleties of the exchange. Upon reflection, however, she began to see the validity of First Madame Fan's words. Bai Rui was taken aback, feeling a bit flustered by the sudden attention. However, she was not one to back down easily. Blushing slightly, she retorted, "Eldest aunt, what are you implying? Our family is hosting this event, so what's wrong with me speaking a few words? How can you suggest otherwise?" Fan Ruyan chimed in. "Exactly. Rui is also contributing to the family. She's merely being courteous to Madame Xiao. Are you not satisfied with that?" First Madame Fan remained firm, stating, "There's no need for flattery. I've made my intentions clear. I am well aware of my actions. Rui has always had a penchant for vibrant and elegant attire, and her choice of accessories is always eye-catching. Today, she appears particularly refined and graceful. I just wonder who she's dressing up for." Chapter 1948. Fooled by Ruirua's heart raced as she felt a surge of guilt wash over her. "Eldest aunt, why do you always have to criticize me for my choice of attire? Can't I wear something delicate and elegant like this dress?" First Madame Fan scoffed. "I never said that." With those words, she rose from her seat and departed, leaving Bai Rui muttering to herself. When she glanced up, she was startled to find her mother's unwavering gaze fixed upon her. She attempted a forced smile. Mothra Fan Ruyan furrowed her brows, scrutinizing her daughter. "Be honest with me. What's troubling you today?" "I didn't to Rui. I am your mother." Fan Ruyan's tone carried a hint of displeasure. "You can't deceive me. I know you harbor disdain for Ms. Qiao, so why pretend?" The sight of her own daughter fawning over Qiao Xian right in front of her left her deeply unsettled. If only she could turn back time and intervene before things escalated. Bai Rui slowly lowered her head, her delicate fingers fidgeting with her clothes nervously. Despite Fan Ruyan's persistent inquiries, Bai Rui stuck to her story, insisting she feared reprisal from Madame Xiao, and thus sought to curry favor with Hera Yuro. Though skeptical, Fan Ruyan found her daughter's distress genuine. No matter how hard she pressed, Bai Rui remained steadfast, on the verge of tears. Reluctantly, Fan Ruyan had no choice but to accept her explanation. She couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for Bai Rui. She chastised Hera Yuro. After all, the Fan family hadn't reached such dire straits yet. There was no need for a young girl like her to sacrifice herself. Her mother and grandmother would shield her. She couldn't afford to be so naive. In the Futuria Euro, Bai Rui found solace in Fan Ruyan's embrace. Her voice sounded strained as she hummed, her eyes reflecting profound thoughts. No one could decipher her inner turmoil. As the prefect, Xiao Yunduan abstained from attending banquets, but he remained occupied throughout the spring festival. He busied himself with visits to esteemed families and hosting gatherings to honor erudite Confucian scholars from across the land. One such event was organized to welcome Jia Heming and other officials, providing them solace amidst their duties. Jia Heming, in his capacity as deputy prefect, reciprocated, extending the festivities for another day. Furthermore, Xiao Yunduan engaged in discussions with heads of prominent families to chart the development course for An's province. His schedule left him with scarce leisure time throughout the entire festival. While Xiao Yunduan had no intention of attending banquets hosted separately by the Mei and Hua families, they jointly arranged a gathering. Their motives were threefold: to reciprocate hospitality, to celebrate the advent of spring, and to express gratitude to the prefect for bringing peace and prosperity to An's province. Thus, Xiao Yunduan had to acquiesce, granting them due respect. Coincidentally, on the 12th day of the first lunar month, the prominent family clan secured the services of the renowned Cool Breeze Gang in An's province and extended an invitation to Xiao Yunduan. As they ventured out that day, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian were in each other's company until they diverged along the way. However, Qiao Xian returned at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, prompting Xiao Yunduan's concern that the revelry might continue late into the night. While Xiao Yunduan occasionally attended such gatherings back in the capital, it was a rare occurrence for him here, marking his first attendance. At dinner, Qiao Xian found herself dining alone, with Anan occupied elsewhere. Perhaps due to the prolonged absence of family meals, Qiao Xian experienced a sudden emptiness in her heart. Reflecting calmly, She realized the irrationality of her worries and broke into a smile. She was letting her fears get the best of Harayuro, fearing that her husband might succumb to temptation and veer off the righteous path. Chapter 1949. Thoughts. He wasn't a naive, easily swayed individual. How could he succumb to others' advances so readily? Moreover, as the prefect, he held a position of authority and prestige. His circumstances had changed since his time in the Capitola Euro. Few would dare to plot against him so brazenly. As she pondered this, Xianxia found herself growing more reassured. But then, another thought crept in a Euro upon further reflection. She realized that her husband's current status as the prefect brought with it a host of individuals seeking to gain his favor. It wasn't quite the same as their life in the capital. Back then, despite his reputation, he held a modest rank as a fifth-grade official, attracting little attention from those seeking to ingratiate themselves. But now, in An's province, he was the authority figure Euro, the one everyone sought to impress. And in his efforts to win her favor, he undoubtedly bestowed upon her various benefits. Gold, silver, jewels, fertile lands, and perhaps even the attention of other admirers Euro. Yes, Xianxia finally grasped the source of her unease. With a soft sigh and a smile, she anticipated what lay ahead. She also couldn't help but wonder if her suspicions were correct. Euro. Undoubtedly, Xiao Yunduan must have attracted quite a bit of attention from the women at the banquet today. The New Year's festivities presented an ideal opportunity for individuals to cozy up to Lord Xiao Euro, a temptation that had lured many before the arrival of the new year. Lord Xiao had no concubines, and his affections were solely reserved for Madame Xiao. With the young master still in his tender years, Madame Xiao bore the responsibilities of both child-rearing and household management, in addition to navigating social obligations. Her plate was undoubtedly full, leaving little room for her husband's personal care. Considering this, it seemed only logical that Lord Xiao would benefit from the presence of a sensible and considerate companion. Indeed, anyone capable of presenting Lord Xiao with a suitable partner stood to gain considerable influence in the future of An's province. Lord Xiao's capabilities were such that aligning oneself with him promised prosperity and success. However, the task of providing Lord Xiao with a companion he truly admired was no simple feat. Lord Xiao wasn't a man of base desires. He was a distinguished scholar hailing from the most flourishing capital in the world. Prior to his relocation, he enjoyed considerable favor even within the prince's circle, suggesting he had encountered his fair share of captivating individuals. So, how could an ordinary beauty capture his attention? This woman would need to possess youth, beauty, intelligence, talent, empathy, gentleness, and consideration Euro at the very least. She would need to exude an allure so captivating, so enchanting, that Lord Xiao couldn't help but be drawn to her. In essence, finding such a person was no small feat, but there were always those willing to take up the challenge. For instance, today, an affluent gentleman surnamed Zhuang went to great lengths to procure a clever and youthful maiden named Lu Ji from Jiangnan. While inebriated, he entertained the notion of presenting her to Lord Xiao. As for the entertainment arranged for today's festivities, the singers and dancers had been meticulously chosen and rehearsed well in advance. Many of these talents were specially imported from overseas before the onset of the new year. The elite families of An's prefecture spared no expense in their preparations for the banquet. Commencing at noon, the banquet commenced with guests seated amidst the soft strains of music, engaging in jovial conversation and laughter. The ambience was vibrant and convivial. Meanwhile, the gentlemen congregated, indulging in food, drink, and musical merriment. Before long, they found themselves unwinding as they engaged in animated discourse. Chapter 1950. Dance. Xiao Yunduan wasn't particularly fond of these social gatherings, but he understood their necessity and prevalence. He wouldn't display any displeasure or rebuke simply because he didn't enjoy them. He knew he had to put on a good show and navigate through the day. As the wine flowed and the dishes circulated, the atmosphere grew even more buoyant. Conversations grew livelier, with some attempting to introduce risque humor into the mix. Observing Xiao Yunduan's disapproving frown, they promptly ceased their inappropriate banter. Following the main course, the table was cleared, making way for an array of exquisite fruits, snacks, fragrant teas, and fine wines. The temporary stage, though devoid of any ambiguity, hosted a spirited performance, adding to the festivities. Despite having listened to performances all afternoon and dining well into the night, the excitement persisted. Throughout the event, Xiao Yunduan received compliments and toasts from those around him. He handled them with grace, neither overly affable nor aloof, maintaining a perfect balance that allowed no one to overstep their boundaries while leaving no room for criticism. Feeling weary of the social obligations inside, Xiao Yunduan sought respite by stepping outside for a while. The Cool Breeze Gang, renowned as the most opulent eatery in An's prefecture city, boasted a charming back garden, small yet exquisitely designed. Given its limited space, the garden featured potted flowers of various varieties arranged according to their blooming seasons. Plum blossoms, camellias, azaleas, and more adorned the landscape, their vibrant hues complementing the surrounding rockery, sweet osmanthus, bamboo, and picturesque pines. Nestled in one corner stood a quaint pavilion, encircled by water on three sides with a lively pond housing koi and other fish, adding a touch of whimsy to the scene. As Xiao Yunduan strolled amidst the garden's splendor, he unexpectedly encountered the second old master of the Mei family. Engaging in brief conversation, they were soon joined by others, their camaraderie leading them back indoors to enjoy the ongoing performance. As the afternoon progressed, the sun began its descent toward the western horizon, casting a golden glow over the surroundings. Gathering once more, the guests accompanied Xiao Yunduan for a leisurely walk through the garden, exchanging laughter and conversation. With dusk approaching, they eventually returned indoors, ready to continue the festivities. The evening banquet presented a marked contrast to the daytime affairs. Arranged in a traditional manner, the seating was organized with a prominent central seat flanked by 2 rows on each side, leaving an open space in the middle. Adorning the center was an exquisite flower carpet, while sumptuous dishes were served with meticulous care. As the toasts began, the musicians in the corner struck up a melodious tune, heralding the arrival of a troupe of dancers clad in alluring attire. With towering elegance and snow-white complexions, they captivated the audience with their mesmerizing performance. Leading the ensemble was a veiled figure, her eyes gleaming like autumn water, her waist swaying with graceful fluidity as she sang with dulcet tones. The spectators were instantly enthralled, their eyes alight with admiration and whispered praises. In particular, the leader of the dancers drew the gaze of nearly everyone present, her beauty both enchanting and mysterious, beckoning with irresistible allure. The song she sang seemed to resonate with the very essence of nature, its gentle melody teasing at the heartstrings of all who listened. Each verse seemed to caress the soul, leaving behind a lingering warmth and a tantalizing itch that could not be ignored. And yet, the veil shrouding her features only served to heighten the anticipation, fueling desires to unveil her true visage. As the final notes echoed through the hall, the audience erupted into thunderous applause and cheers, their fervor such that they wished to shower the beauty with silver and gold, if only to catch a glimpse of her unveiled face. Chapter 1951. Miss Lu Ji. Nevertheless, nobody was naive. They all understood that this exquisite beauty had been specifically arranged for Lord Xiao. They seized the opportunity to revel in the performance, shamelessly stealing more than a few glances. After today, they knew they wouldn't have the chance again. Such a captivating figure, alluring dance moves, enchanting eyes, and mellifluous voice truly epitomized supreme-grade beauty. Those who laid eyes on her couldn't help but feel their pulses quicken and their hearts stir. Lord Xiao was no exception a euro. He was a man after all. It was only natural for him to desire such a treasure that had practically been delivered to his doorstep. Considering it would come at no cost to him, why wouldn't he desire it? To pass up such a blessing would be sheer folly. Consequently, everyone assumed that this beauty belonged to Xiao Yunduan, and they lavished praise upon her accordingly. Absolutely stunning. Such a song belongs only in the Xianxia Euro. It's truly magnificent. And that Dancia Euro, it's beyond compare. I've never witnessed anything like it before. A beauty capable of toppling King Domsa Euro. Such rarity. We owe it all to Lord Xiao. Haha. Indeed, it's all thanks to Lord Xiao. Without him, we wouldn't have had the pleasure of experiencing such a marvelous performance. That's right, ha ha ha. A Euro. Xiao Yunduan heard everything and frowned slightly. He took it as a joke and did not say anything more. Unexpectedly, when the dance ended and everyone applauded, Old Master Zhuang said with a smile, "Miss Lu Ji's song and dance is really amazing. If it weren't for Lord Xiao, there wouldn't be peace in An's prefecture. It's all thanks to Lord Xiao that we can enjoy the song and dance banquet here in peace. We should thank Lord Xiao for his kindness. Miss Lu Ji, why don't you toast Lord Xiao on our behalf?" Everyone cheered loudly, clapping and laughing. Yes, yes. That's how it should be. Yes, it's all thanks to Lord Xiao. Miss Lu Ji, please have a toast to Lord Xiao. A few more toasts. True. Miss Lu Ji still had not taken off her veil, but she smiled at Xiao Yunduan with a charming smile. She raised her hand and walked towards Xiao Yunduan with the small white jade wine glass in her hand. The cloud-like dress brought with it a faint elegant fragrance, making one feel relaxed and happy. As the captivating fragrance wafted through the air, many couldn't resist leaning in to catch a whiff, though they made sure not to betray their inner desires too overtly, lest they reveal their less than admirable intentions. Seating herself gracefully beside Xiao Yunduan, Lu Ji extended her glass to him, taking the opportunity to draw closer. Lord Euro, however, Xiao Yunduan deftly sidestepped her advance, gently pushing her back with a furrowed brow. I've had my fill of wine today, so I'll pass. Instead, why don't you grace us with another performance, Miss Lu Ji? I'm sure everyone here would love to see it. Though Xiao Yunduan would have preferred to excuse himself from the situation, he recognized the importance of maintaining cordial relations with the influential families of An's prefecture for the region's development. Regardless of the intentions behind the offer of such a beauty, he couldn't bring himself to accept it. He wouldn't even entertain the idea of touching her. Unaware of her upbringing or background, he could only perceive her as tainted. Chapter 1952. Decline. Lu Ji was momentarily stunned, feeling a wave of unease wash over her as she persisted in clinging to Xiao Yunduan. Lord Euro, however, Xiao Yunduan swiftly evaded her, fixing her with a cold stare that seemed to erect an invisible barrier, freezing her in place, rendering her unable to move. Raising his hand with a feigned gentleness in his tone and expression, Xiao Yunduan delivered a chilling command. Miss Lu Ji, please depart. Lu Ji stood frozen, unable to utter a word. The onlookers were equally taken aback. Many of the more observant individuals noted Xiao Yunduan's clear lack of interest in Miss Lu Ji. He hadn't even attempted to take advantage of the situation. They couldn't believe it. With Miss Lu Ji's undeniable allure Euro, her figure, her charm, her alluring gaze, her melodic voice Euro, surely she must be a beauty worthy of Lord Xiao's attention, given old Master Zhuang's boldness in offering her. If even Lord Xiao wasn't enticed by such a woman, then who else could possibly win his favor? Despite this, many remained hopeful, anticipating that old Master Zhuang's bold move might inspire others to vie for Lord Xiao's favor in the future, each seeking their own share of the spoils. For any man with means and status, the prospect of possessing numerous beauties was an enticing one. However, if Lord Xiao rejected such a supreme-grade woman, where could one possibly find a better match? Xiao Yunduan's decisive action shattered the illusions of many present. While those less perceptive individuals who remained enchanted by Miss Lu Ji's allure initially expressed their delight upon hearing Xiao Yunduan's words, applauding and cheering for his decision, others praised his integrity and magnanimity. Xiao Yunduan's smile served as a tacit confirmation of their sentiments. Without hesitation, Qing Yan promptly escorted Miss Lu Ji away from Xiao Yunduan's vicinity. Though reluctant to relinquish the wine glass in her hand, Miss Lu Ji maintained a facade of compliance, suggesting, "How could I defy Lord Xiao's wishes? Perhaps you could enjoy this glass of wine first. Afterwards, I'll treat you and the esteemed gentleman to another round of song and dance." The crowd erupted into cheers at her offer. Yet before Miss Lu Ji could attempt to sidle up to Xiao Yunduan once more, Qing Yan swiftly intercepted, relieving her of the white jade wine glass with a genial smile. "Miss Lu Ji, please. The esteemed gentlemen are eagerly anticipating your performance." Embarrassed by the sudden turn of events, Miss Lu Ji glanced up at Xiao Yunduan with pleading eyes, but his impassive expression provided no solace. It was clear that Xiao Yunduan endorsed Qing Yan's directive. Observing Xiao Yunduan's apparent disinterest, Miss Lu Ji reluctantly swallowed her frustration. Deciphering the situation with practiced acumen, she opted to take a step back, offering Xiao Yunduan a placid smile before resuming her performance for the audience. Xiao Yunduan's aloof demeanor only served to stoke Miss Lu Ji's competitive spirit. Having heard that Lord Xiao had only one wife, who happened to hold the esteemed position of primus, Miss Lu Ji's curiosity about him had been piqued. Now, witnessing Lord Xiao's undeniable charm firsthand, her interest intensified. She hadn't anticipated Lord Xiao's remarkable presence, nor had she anticipated the lascivious and repugnant behavior of the crass old masters. Yet, despite this, her resolve to captivate him remained unwavering. Chapter 1953. Conceited, she exuded confidence in her beauty, intellect, and talents, proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, painting, and the art of song and dance alike. Such multifaceted abilities were a testament to her capabilities. She couldn't fathom the idea of being overlooked, particularly by someone of Lord Xiao's stature. The notion of capturing Lord Xiao's attention was exhilarating. She had a gut feeling that if she could sway him, he would become her protector, offering her the stability she yearned for in life. Miss Lu Ji remained undeterred by Xiao Yunduan's initial indifference. On the contrary, she intensified her efforts, pouring herself into her performances, occasionally casting affectionate glances towards Xiao Yunduan. Her displays garnered admiration from the inebriated old masters, eliciting boisterous applause and laughter. Meanwhile, Xiao Yunduan maintained his composed demeanor, silently enduring the spectacle. Such composure was necessary for a local official. As the performance concluded, before Miss Lu Ji or Old Master Zhuang could speak, Qing Yan interjected, "Miss Lu Ji, your performance was exceptional. Lord Xiao wishes to reward you with 100 taels of silver. Please come forward to receive your well-deserved reward." Receiving 100 taels of silver was no trifling matter, yet Miss Lu Ji found herself grappling with the gravity of the situation. Wasn't this precisely what she had desired? "Thank you graciously for your generosity, Lord. Your esteemed regard overwhelms me. May I be permitted to remain and attend to your wine?" Lu Ji's voice was soft and reverent as she inclined her form towards Xiao Yunduan. Her slender frame exuded an air of graceful desperation, amplifying her plea. Her eyes, brimming with timid adoration, coupled with her tender tone, bespoke volumes of admiration. Such a display of charm would render any man vulnerable to her allure, imbuing him with a sense of pride and assurance. As the crowd erupted in cheers, laughter and applause, Lu Ji's bashfulness swelled into fervent passion, propelling her towards Xiao Yunduan with a determined stride. "No need," Xiao Yunduan interjected calmly. "I am not accustomed to close company. Miss Lu Ji, if you're not fatigued, why not grace us with another song and dance? I believe everyone here enjoys your performance." Lu Ji's equilibrium wavered, nearly causing her to stumble. This was unexpected. After expending herself in 2 rigorous performances, she found herself slightly breathless and drenched in perspiration. How could she muster the strength for an encore? To falter now and risk humiliation before Hima Euro, how could she endure it? Old Master Zhuang appeared poised to interject, but a meaningful glance from First Old Master Mei prompted him to reconsider. Clearing his throat, Old Master Zhuang attempted to diffuse the tension. "Given Lord Xiao's preferences, Miss Lu Ji, perhaps it's best to graciously withdraw. There will be ample opportunities for performances in the future." "Ha ha ha." Xiao Yunduan offered no rebuttal, seemingly disinclined to engage in debate. This wasn't the appropriate time for such discourse. As for whether Old Master Zhuang's remarks held any hidden implications, Xiao Yunduan remained indifferent. There was no need to read too deeply into it, as nobody held sway over him with mere words. Observing Xiao Yunduan's lack of objection, Lu Ji's enthusiasm surged. She offered another shy smile and a respectful bow before Xiao Yunduan, her gaze lingering momentarily before she gracefully took her leave. Perhaps Xiao Yunduan was simply uncomfortable with public displays of affection? Lu Ji had encountered such individuals before, so this behavior didn't strike her as unusual. With this thought in mind, Lu Ji's confidence swelled even further. Following Lu Ji's departure, the festivities continued with additional performances of song and dance. While these displays were commendable, showcasing a bevy of talented beauties, none quite matched the captivating allure of Lu Ji. Chapter 1954. Berating. With this incident unfolding, the atmosphere among the attendees grew noticeably strained. Approximately an hour later, Xiao Yunduan announced his intention to depart, prompting the guests to take their leave in succession. The Mei family and the Hua family bid farewell to Xiao Yunduan and politely declined any further invitations. It was widely speculated that the Mei and Hua families harbored plans to surprise Lord Xiao in private. Despite any envy or curiosity stirred among the other guests, none dared to vie with these esteemed families. Upon entering his carriage, Xiao Yunduan found an unfamiliar pair of master and servant awaiting him. The maid, in particular, possessed striking features, a sharp, oval face and delicate contours illuminated by the dim night. Her fair complexion accentuated her beauty, but it was her captivating eyes that truly commanded attention, mesmerizing, alluring, and flirtatious. For a moment, Xiao Yunduan found himself momentarily taken aback, as if encountering this woman for the first time. The woman suppressed a coy laugh behind her hand before speaking timidly. My lord, I am Lu Ji. I hold you in great admiration and am willing to accompany and serve you. I offer myself as a humble servant and maid, with no regrets for the rest of my days. Please grant me this wish. Xiao Yunduan's expression darkened. Suddenly, it became clear why she seemed so familiar. Get off here. Lord. Don't make me say it a second time. Not everyone can board my carriage if they want to. Who asked you to come up? How dare you? Lord, you're wise. I definitely didn't mean to offend you. I just You have already offended me. Xiao Yunduan said coldly. You came up without my permission. That is an offense. Buta if you refuse to disembark, shall I have someone assist you? Xiao Yunduan's stern words jolted Lu Ji, leaving her no room for further argument. She timidly grasped the maid's hand and hastily exited the carriage. As Lu Ji vacated her seat, Xiao Yunduan cast a disapproving glance in her direction, his brow furrowing in displeasure. With a decisive pivot, he descended from the carriage and ordered Qin Yan to fetch a horse. Mounting swiftly, he rode off, trailed by Sun Bai and his retinue. Meanwhile, Qin Yan commandeered the vacated carriage, positioning himself at the edge with a disdainful snort aimed at Lu Ji, before instructing the coachman to proceed. Internally flustered, Lu Ji found herself at a loss for words, her thoughts swirling chaotically. The maid, bewildered by the unfolding events, voiced her confusion. Miss, how could Lord Xiao treat you like this? You've done nothing but kindness. Enough, Lu Ji interjected, her embarrassment threatening to overwhelm her. She turned away, seeking solace in the presence of Old Master Zhuang. Old Master Zhuang, too, appeared taken aback and apprehensive. Could this incident incur Lord Xiao's ire? Regardless of his concerns, his only course of action was to escort Lu Ji back promptly, and relay the events to the second Old Master of the Mei family with haste. Lu Ji's exceptional beauty made her a rare find indeed. Even with ample resources, locating her wouldn't have been a simple task. Upon hearing the report, second Old Master Mei offered little response, allowing Old Master Zhuang to depart without much ado. However, once alone, his countenance soured considerably. The discovery of this coveted beauty proved to be a disappointment to She seemed utterly ineffectual. Later that evening, the three brothers convened in the study, their minds burdened with worry. Third Old Master Mei was the first to voice his frustration. What is Lord Xiao's objective? If he shuns female company, does he not desire a spouse and heirs? Why shun the company of a suitable mate? What harm could it possibly bring? I find it utterly confounding. Chapter 1955. Fate's second Old Master Mei let out a heavy sigh. Nothing is guaranteed. I had hoped that Lu Ji could sway him, or at least earn us a favorable mention. It would have saved us a lot of trouble. Sigh. The two brothers commiserated with each other, their minds burdened with concerns and uncertainties. It's just unfortunate that the gift didn't appeal to him. What more can be done? Lamented one. Old Master Mei listened intently before offering his perspective. Simply because he rejected Lu Ji doesn't mean he's averse to others. Xiao Yunduan is, first and foremost, a scholar, a formidable one at that. It's not uncommon for scholars to have reservations, particularly in matters of reputation and sensitivity. His rejection in public may be a reflection of such concerns. Third Old Master Mei chimed in, nodding in agreement. Indeed, scholars often conceal unsavory habits behind a facade of piety. It appears that Xiao Yunduan values his reputation greatly. Perhaps presenting him with a more discreet option would yield better results? Despite his doubts, Third Old Master Mei remained convinced of Lu Ji's irresistible allure. Surely, no man could resist such exquisite beauty. It would be a waste not to pursue her. Old Master Mei interjected, his tone firm. It's not prudent. Xiao Yunduan values his reputation highly. If he rejected Lu Ji, he may not accept her in private. We must explore other avenues to secure his favor. But where could I find another woman like Lu Ji? It doesn't have to be identical, Old Master Mei retorted disdainfully. Scholars are known to value serendipity. Our chance encounter is far more favorable than a direct presentation from others. Wouldn't you agree? The eyes of the other two Mei family elders gleamed with newfound hope. Elder brother, that's a brilliant notion. As Xiao Yunduan returned to his quarters in the backyard of the state office, he was greeted by Qiao Xian's welcoming smile. Caught off guard, Xiao Yunduan's gaze softened as he reached out to her. "Why are you still awake?" "I was waiting for you," Qiao Xian replied, her smile unwavering. "You smell of alcohol. Have you been indulging in drink all evening?" Xiao Yunduan hesitated for a moment, feeling a pang of guilt at her inquiry. He was wary of the implications of the cosmetic scent on his clothing, fearing his wife's suspicions. With a forced smile, he responded, "No, I was simply enjoying the entertainment. I'm going to freshen up now. My wife is expecting me in our chamber." Though innocent in his actions, he recognized the potential for misunderstandings. It was better to swiftly dispel any doubts to maintain domestic harmony. Qiao Xian nodded understandingly. "Go ahead." Xiao Yunduan planted a kiss on her cheek before grinning. "Wait for me." With that, he shuffled off. Qiao Xian wrinkled her nose and let out a small scoff. She had a keen sense of smell, easily detecting the lingering scent of cosmetics on her husband's clothes. Though somewhat awkward, she dismissed any lingering doubts. It was customary for such gatherings to feature dancers and courtesans, their presence accompanied by a cloud of perfume filling the air. However, Qiao Xian couldn't help but feel a twinge of disappointment. With her husband increasingly attending such events, her own happiness seemed destined to diminish. After a refreshing shower, Xiao Yunduan returned to their bedroom, feeling invigorated. Qiao Xian was lounging against the bed's headboard in her apricot-colored pajamas, her loose black hair cascading over her shoulders. The soft fabric draped loosely around her form, and in the gentle glow of the room, she exuded an air of delicate allure and languid charm. Chapter 1956. Is there a beauty? As the faint sound of footsteps approached, Qiao Xian glanced up and exchanged a smile with her husband. Xiao Yunduan's eyes brimmed with tenderness. Despite their years of marriage, Qiao Xian still managed to evoke a shy flutter in his heart. Her cheeks flushed, and she found herself unable to meet his gaze. "My dear wifey." Xiao Yunduan's chuckle was soft as he enveloped her in his embrace, casting them both in gentle shadows. The scent of fresh water mingled with the familiar aroma of his presence, suffusing the air with a pleasant warmth. Qiao Xian's cheeks grew hot as she kissed him tenderly, her breath quickening with each passing moment. The familiar rush of desire left her feeling light-headed. The room was steeped in an enchanting ambience, the air thick with anticipation. Eventually, as the tension ebbed away like dissipating clouds after a storm, they remained ensconced in each other's arms, reluctant to disrupt the tranquil atmosphere. After tidying up the room, Xiao Yunduan drew her close once more, his smile tinged with contentment as he whispered sweet nothings into her ear. Qiao Xian indulged in playful banter, running her fingers through his hair. With a mischievous half-smile, she teased, "Did you happen to encounter any captivating beauties at the banquet today?" The ambience was just right, the perfect moment for indulgence and affection. It was only fitting that he inquire. However, there was no way she could retire for the night with him. Otherwise, slumber might prove elusive. Xiao Yunduan gently tapped her nose, a knowing smile gracing his lips. He anticipated her question. "In truth," he began, "there were a few performers singing and dancing, their cacophony causing quite the headache. Whether they were exceptional or not mattered little to me. Their presence holds no significance." Qiao Xian chuckled, feeling reassured by his response. For women, a man's attitude mattered most, words reinforced by actions. "Indeed," she concurred, "those unruly individuals harbor ill intentions. My dear husband, steer clear of their company. Should anyone persist in associating with them despite the warnings, I'll not hesitate to assert my claim as a jealous wife." Xiao Yunduan gently kissed her, his voice tender. "Never. I couldn't bear it." They already had a son, with plans for more children in the future. If his wife were to be labeled as a jealous woman, their children could simply brush it off, joking that she was their daughter-in-law, and it wouldn't affect their son-in-law. Xiao Yunduan was thinking ahead, considering the long-term implications. If Qiao Xian had known his thoughts, she would have been torn between laughter and exasperation. But she didn't press further, content with his response. Never one to dwell on such matters, Qiao Xian shifted the conversation to their plans for admiring the lantern festival lights on the upcoming 15th day of the lunar month, before drifting off to sleep. It would be the first New Year celebration since the resolution of the bandit problem. Naturally, The Lantern Festival on the 15th day of the first lunar month promised to be lively. The local government had issued calls for merchants to prepare countless lanterns, ensuring a grand celebration. As the final festivity of the spring festival season, the Lantern Festival marked the beginning of warmer weather and the implementation of new plans for farmers and merchants alike. The bustling festivities of the Lantern Festival were a fitting conclusion to the joyous season of celebration. As the Lantern Festival approached, a multitude of lanterns adorned the backyard of the state government office. With dusk settling in, the lanterns were gradually illuminated one by one. Anan, curious and intrigued, reached out tentatively to touch them. Meanwhile, Xiao Xian had instructed the kitchen to prepare a generous assortment of glutinous rice balls, featuring fillings such as sesame sweet osmanthus, red bean paste, peanut, hawthorn, pork, fish, and chickena euro enough to satisfy the entire East Yard. Additionally, she arranged for a plentiful supply to be distributed to the guards on duty at the office. Chapter 1957. Lantern Festival. They also arranged for a special break for the guards. Those with no pressing duties were permitted to take time off and enjoy some leisure activities. Grateful for the gesture, the guards happily expressed their thanks. After indulging in the glutinous rice balls, they gathered their friends and ventured out in groups to join the festivities. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan decided to explore the Lantern Festival together. However, Anan, still too young and with the crowds at the festival, was left behind. Despite missing out on the Lantern Festival, Anan was entertained by the numerous lights in the yard. Unbeknownst to him, Xiao Xian slipped out of the door. The Lantern Festival grounds had been meticulously planned by the Yamen, featuring 2 long streets and a spacious square interconnected. Tonight, access to the area was restricted, with no carriages or horses allowed entry, and bailiffs stationed at the entrances. Stepping off the wagon, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan found themselves engulfed by a bustling throng of revelers. So many lights, such a lively atmosphere. Next year, when Anan is a bit older, well, bring him along too. Xiao Xian remarked with a smile, envisioning future outings with her child. Xiao Yunduan assisted Xiao Xian in fastening her cloak, adorned with rose-red embroidery and rabbit fur trim, before intertwining his fingers with hers and guiding her forward. Anan is still young. He'll be fine on his own. This year's Lantern Festival held a dual significance, commemorating the triumph over the bandits and celebrating the appointment of the new Lord Prefect. Merchants and prominent families spared no expense in adorning the streets with a dazzling array of decorations. The streets were aglow with myriad lanterns, each more splendid than the last. Xiao Yunduan admired them as they strolled, marveling not only at their exquisite designs and illustrations but also at the diverse materials you see to Euro: silk, gauze, craft paper, snow wave paper, mulberry paper, wood, bamboo, feathers, glass, jade, and more. Each lantern boasted intricate craftsmanship, adorned with silk, jade, beads, and threads, captivating the eyes of passers-by. In the spacious plaza, enormous lanterns resembling miniature houses adorned the surroundings, their brilliance imbued with symbols of auspiciousness: Euro, pine cranes, springtime scenes, carps leaping over the dragon gate, change ascending to the moon, flourishing lotus flowers, and bamboos signifying safety. Crowds gathered around these magnificent displays, pausing to admire, jest, and point in awe. Numerous grand lanterns were adorned with vibrant floral arrangements, surrounded by pots of blooming lilies, chrysanthemums, coxcombs, and more, enhancing the festive ambience. Xiao Xian was filled with excitement, unable to contain her praises. Yet, amidst her admiration, a tinge of regret lingered. It was a shame that such a picturesque scene couldn't be captured in photographs. If she wished to behold it again after today, she'd have to wait until the following year. Xiao Yunduan reserved a private room at a tea house overlooking the square. As they made their way toward it, intending to savor the scenery from the comfort of the tea house, they unexpectedly encountered Mrs. Jia and 2 other acquaintances, also immersed in lantern admiration. Mrs. Jia and her companions approached them with greetings, prompting Xiao Xian to extend her hospitality. One of the ladies, Mrs. Lin, suggested they join her in the private room. Madame Jia and Mrs. Long chimed in, smiling warmly. Reluctant to appear inhospitable and mindful of preserving social decorum, Xiao Xian acquiesced with a smile, urging Xiao Yunduan to return home with her. The 3 ladies were delighted by Xiao Xian's decision, bidding farewell to Xiao Yunduan politely before accompanying Xiao Xian to the tea house. Chapter 1958. Accident. Xiao Yunduan sighed helplessly, resigning himself to the situation. It was disappointing that he had taken his wife out to enjoy the lanterns, only for her to be whisked away by Mrs. Jia. Thankfully, they had spent most of the evening shopping. Otherwise, his disappointment would have been even greater. With Chao Xian now occupied, Xiao Yunduan found himself reluctant to venture to the tea house alone. Feeling somewhat foolish sitting by himself amidst the bustling crowd, he decided to head back the way they came. Considering the scale of the Lantern Festival, the government had undoubtedly made extensive preparations. Bailiffs were stationed strategically, and city gate patrols remained vigilant. Chao Xian was accompanied by Li Xia, Li Qiu, Mian Mian, and Ah Yi, while Xiao Yunduan had Sun Bai and his men ensuring his safety. However, Xiao Yunduan hadn't anticipated causing trouble while out shopping. As he navigated the bustling market, a sudden shove sent him off balance, causing him to collide with a woman. She let out a cry of surprise as the delicate glass lantern she held slipped from her grasp and shattered upon impact. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, Xiao Yunduan glanced around, grateful that his current disguise had kept his identity hidden. It wouldn't have looked good for the dignified lord of the prefect state to be seen causing such a mishap. Xiao Yunduan instructed Sun Bai, who was nearby, to handle the situation and compensate the girl for the broken lantern before leaving promptly. The girl's expression froze in disbelief. Lord Xiao hadn't even spared her a glance? Sun Bai, accustomed to handling matters efficiently, approached the girl. Having served in the Crown Prince's East Palace, he was well versed in dealing with various situations. Observing the timing of the collision, occurring shortly after Madame Jia's departure, and the subsequent breakage of the girl's lantern, he couldn't help but find the circumstances suspicious. His gaze towards the girl grew more guarded. "Miss, how much is this glass lamp worth? I will compensate you accordingly." The girl forced a smile, insisting, "You can't blame that young gentleman just now. It was my own carelessness. I cannot accept compensation from you. Miss, you're being too modest. Our master wouldn't want to owe anyone. It's better to accept compensation." Though she refused compensation now, there was no telling what complications might arise later. It was better to settle the matter promptly to avoid future disputes. The situation took a more serious turn due to Xiao Yunduan's status as the lord of the prefect. The girl attempted to refuse the compensation once again, but found herself unable to do so. To her surprise, she noticed that the individuals who had pushed her had not yet departed. They lingered nearby, pointing and laughing amongst themselves, seemingly discussing something. With a determined glare, the girl confronted them, angrily pointing them out. "You're the ones who pushed me just now, causing me to accidentally bump into that young gentleman and break the glass lamp. You should be responsible for compensating for it. Xiaoyi, Xiaochun, don't let them leave. They need to pay." Her two maidservants swiftly obeyed, rushing over to confront the individuals and demand compensation. Tensions escalated rapidly, and the atmosphere grew charged with conflict. Chapter 1959. Misunderstanding. Amidst the escalating argument, Sun Bai, accompanied by his subordinate, found himself unable to depart immediately. Frowning inwardly, he couldn't help but cast a reproachful glance at the woman embroiled in the dispute. In his mind, Sun Bai couldn't comprehend why such a fuss was being made over a mere glass lamp. Regardless of its value, there was a limit to its worth. His lord was certainly not lacking in wealth. He could easily afford to compensate for it, no matter the cost. Sun Bai was certain that Xiao Yunduan wouldn't haggle or fuss over such a trivial matter. Why, then, was this woman causing such a scene? Watching the woman's two maidservants engage in heated argument with the others only served to heighten Sun Bai's irritation. However, he opted not to intervene. After all, it wasn't his place to mediate. Besides, taking sides would only complicate matters further. Deciding to observe from the sidelines and await a resolution, Sun Bai failed to realize the implications of his inaction. This was the Lantern Festival, a bustling event teeming with crowds. It was a magnet for onlookers eager to witness any spectacle. Before Sun Bai could discern the gravity of the situation, a throng had gathered around, drawn by the commotion. As the crowd swelled, the likelihood of encountering acquaintances increased exponentially. With the growing crowd, the likelihood of encountering acquaintances skyrocketed, especially for someone like Sun Bai, a constable of the An's province's government office, known to many in the city. True to expectations, it didn't take long for someone to recognize him amidst the throng. Before long, a familiar face approached Sun Bai, offering greetings and inquiring about the situation, offering assistance if needed. The sharp-witted maidservant, Xiaoi, seized the opportunity to amplify the situation, raising her voice to draw attention. Boom! In no time, the entire gathering was abuzz with speculation. As rumors spread, they took on a life of their own, growing increasingly absurd. Soon, the tale morphed into a sensationalized narrative. Lord Xiao, witnessing an injustice, unsheathed his sword to defend a young and beautiful woman being harassed by ruffians in the lantern market, accidentally shattering a glass lamp in the process. His chivalrous act sparked awe and admiration throughout the crowd. The romantic gossip between a man and a woman had always been a favorite topic of discussion among the locals. Even the slightest hint of a connection would set imaginations alight, sparking wild interpretations and rampant rumors. The intrigue was heightened by the fact that one party was a young and beautiful heiress from an obscure family, while the other was a rising star, the Lord Prefect. The tantalizing 8 trigrams between them fueled endless curiosity and speculation. As the crowd swelled that night, Sunbai began to sense that something was amiss. Dismissing the instigators and compensating the girl with silver, he attempted to clarify the situation. However, some people were more inclined to believe their own fantasies than the truth. There were even those who cynically believed that Sunbai's explanations were merely attempts to cover up the real story. As for Sunbai's true intentions? Well, that was a secret he couldn't divulge. Her speculation wasn't unfounded. It had a basis. After all, why would Constable Sun escort that girl home that night if there wasn't something between her and Lord Xiao? It seemed like the most logical conclusion. Upon hearing this later on, Sunbai couldn't help but feel dejected. The girl had pleaded with him pitifully to accompany her home, citing fear of further harassment from the instigators. Faced with a vulnerable trio of women in the dead of night, Sunbai found it impossible to refuse. Chapter 1960. Unexpected. If anything were to happen to that girl, it could potentially implicate Lord Xiao, making the situation difficult to explain. From Sunbai's perspective, he had simply escorted her home, ensuring her safety with the presence of his subordinates and 2 acquaintances. He had believed it would be a straightforward task, but he hadn't anticipated the ensuing rumors. In reality, the moment the girl accidentally shattered the glass lamp on Xiao Yunduan, events spiraled out of his control. Both Xiao Yunduan and Sunbai remained unaware of the rumors circulating about them. For Xiao Yunduan, it was a minor incident that he swiftly left behind, delegating to Sunbai without further concern. As for Sunbai, he too saw the night's events as uneventful and quickly moved on. With the demands of post-spring festival responsibilities looming, neither of them gave much thought to the incident thereafter. Thus, he found himself at a disadvantage. This was the unfolding narrative. Meanwhile, Chao Xian and Mrs. Jia didn't linger long at the festival, as women typically didn't stay out late. By the time Chao Xian returned home, Xiao Yunduan had already retired for the night, and Anan was sound asleep. The couple settled into their room, and the night passed without incident. With the conclusion of the spring festival, Xiao Yunduan was consumed with tasks like rice planting and road repairs, leaving little room for leisure. Given that the rice seeds had been provided by the government the previous year, Xiao Yunduan intended to continue his partnership with Yuezhing Xiao for this year's crop. However, no one could guarantee the same yield as last year. It was widely regarded as a stroke of luck, an anomaly in the Lord Prefect's favor. Chao Xian recognized the importance of managing expectations moving forward. If the same level of prosperity from the previous year was expected again this year and beyond, disappointment and resentment among the people would inevitably arise. With this in mind, Chao Xian decided against intervening in the rice production this year, including her own 60,000 mu of paddy fields. Upon returning from their hunting trip in Meili Town, Xiao Yunduan and Chao Xian had already conferred with Jia Heming and others regarding the road repairs, and the project was now officially underway. The infrastructure of An's province had languished for numerous years, leaving the roads to various towns in dire need of repair. In the 3 towns near the capital city, the road conditions were relatively better. However, as one moved further away from the capital, the road conditions deteriorated significantly. The 2 towns furthest away faced substantial challenges in transporting rice seeds and collecting taxes on public grain every year. The state of those roads was a constant headache for authorities. Xiao Yunduan agreed with his wife's perspective. He realized that if they aimed to prosper, they needed to prioritize road construction. Inadequate transportation infrastructure would hamper the exchange of goods, hindering commoners from bringing out specialty products for sale. Their own families' experiences underscored this point. To achieve prosperity, they needed to engage in commerce. Engaging in commerce didn't necessarily mean everyone becoming a merchant. Their family could sell various products like tea leaves, silver fungus, medicinal herbs, mushrooms, and fruits for profit. However, the lack of a reliable road network made buying and selling incredibly inconvenient. Following the 15th, Xiao Yunduan dispatched a reliable scribe to enlist locals familiar with the terrain to survey and record the land, laying the groundwork for road construction. Chapter 1961. Busy. Most of the road repairs involved filling in the original foundation and widening some sections. The overall layout remained largely unchanged, provided one was willing to endure hardship and adhere to provincial regulations. Manpower for road repairs was readily available through conscription, with nearby commoners providing the necessary labor force. The government historically employed this method whenever manpower was needed. However, the real challenge lay in financing the road repairs. Procuring materials such as stone, wood, sand, and essential medical supplies, particularly trauma medication, required significant funds. Additionally, providing daily meals for laborers was essential, as Xiao Yunduan insisted on ensuring they worked on full stomachs. Laborers engaged in physical work typically consumed large quantities of food, often requiring 5 or 6 fist-sized steamed buns each or even more to feel satisfied. Meeting these financial demands posed a considerable obstacle. While the state office's finances had improved somewhat, they were not yet affluent enough to freely allocate funds for such projects. Furthermore, the road repairs presented an opportunity to solicit donations from wealthy families and businessmen who stood to benefit the most from the improved infrastructure. Xiao Yunduan had been actively engaged in negotiations for contributions in addition to his regular duties. Meanwhile, Qiao Xian was equally occupied with her own responsibilities. She had plans to cultivate a variety of herbs, star anise, peppers, and fruit trees in large quantities this year. Ensuring the success of these endeavors required careful planning and execution, leaving her with a full schedule each day. Despite their busy lives, the couple still found moments to express their affection for each other and spend quality time with Anan. Unbeknownst to them, rumors were circulating widely among the elite families, but they had yet to reach the general public. As days passed swiftly, 5 days had already slipped by unnoticed. 5 days was enough to confirm the rumors in the public's heart. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian did not come out to refute the rumors, and even those who did not believe it at first started to believe it. If Xiao Yunduan had taken action when the rumors first began to circulate, perhaps he wouldn't be so frustrated now. On this particular day, Mrs. Jia approached Qiao Xian with a hesitant demeanor, as if she had something to discuss. When Qiao Xian inquired with a friendly smile, Mrs. Jia hesitantly brought up the rumor she had heard. "I've heard a rumor that Lord Xiao has set his sights on the third daughter of the Lu family and intends to take her as his concubine," Mrs. Jia murmured. "They say the third daughter of the Lu family is gentle and kind-hearted, not one to stir up trouble. But with the Mei family's influence, Lord Xiao wouldn't dare disrespect his wife, would he?" Qiao Xian was taken aback, her mind reeling with disbelief. The third daughter of the Lu family? How is she connected to the Mei family? And my husband, liking her? Where on earth did you hear such nonsense? Qiao Xian found the idea preposterous. While it was true that wealth could sometimes change a person, there had to be some indication, some shift in behavior. Yet, for the past few days, her husband had been affectionate and attentive, showering her with affection. They had made plans to spend quality time together, enjoying leisurely outings with Anan and even discussing future trips to Liuhe Manor for hunting and exploration. Chapter 1962. Ridiculous. Why would Xiao Yunduan suddenly fall for the third daughter of the Lu family? After all, Xiao Yunduan was just a prefect in a remote area, recently emerging from a perilous situation. He hadn't even reached a high rank yet, and their good days were just beginning. It seemed absurd for him to act so arrogantly. Mrs. Jia was equally surprised by Qiao Xian's reaction. "Madam Xiao, are you serious? Don't you know?" Qiao Xian couldn't help but chuckle. "If I didn't know my husband so well, I might have fallen for it too. It's clearly just baseless gossip. What a ridiculous notion." But her amusement quickly turned to anger. Who spread such malicious rumors? If I find out, they'll regret it. She couldn't fathom the malicious intent behind spreading such falsehoods. "Buta euro," Mrs. Jia faltered, looking perplexed. "This news has been circulating for days. I heard that Lord Xiao rescued a damsel in distress during the Lantern Festival. Sensing that something was amiss, Xiao pressed Mrs. Jia for more information. True to her character, Mrs. Jia divulged all she knew, unwilling to hide anything from Xiao. The rumors sounded plausible and confident, and with so many witnesses, it was easy to believe. Lord Xiao had even requested Constable Sun to escort Miss Lu home. The fact that Lord Xiao didn't refute the rumors only fueled their spread. Mrs. Jia couldn't help but sympathize with Xiao when she saw the distress in her eyes. Dealing with such widespread rumors would undoubtedly be challenging. She feared that Madame Xiao might eventually have to acquiesce to Lord Xiao taking Miss Lu as a concubine. If not, regardless of the justification Lord Xiao provided for rejecting her, he would be seen as a heartless villain. Fortunately, third Miss Lu was the daughter of a concubine, and even the niece of the Mei family's first madam couldn't exert much influence. Xiao quickly grasped the situation. Her husband had been framed. It was possible that the Mei family and the Lu family were behind this scheme. However, neither Sun Bai nor her husband seemed to take the matter seriously. They had been preoccupied with other tasks in recent days, and even Xianxia and the others were busy. Consequently, while there was likely an uproar outside, their lack of response might be interpreted as either tacit approval or guilt. This was becoming quite troublesome. Although she was only a concubine's daughter, she still had a reputation to uphold. If the situation didn't resolve favorably, it could tarnish her reputation irreparably. This could even force a fabricated relationship to become a reality. Those schemers. Xiao seethed with anger. Mrs. Jia took her leave soon after. The moment she departed, Xiao instructed Mian and Yi to gather information. In truth, if they didn't gather information, they wouldn't know the extent of the situation. However, if they did, the need to ask would be unnecessary. Xiao summoned Xiao Yunduan back. Xiao Yunduan was utterly perplexed, even more so than Xiao. Initially, he had no clue what Xiao was talking about. This only added to the confusion. Who was this third daughter of the Lu family? He didn't know her, nor did he owe her anything. Regarding the incident at the Lantern Festival, it was true that someone had accidentally bumped into him. As the prefect of the state, he had to compensate, regardless of whether he was at fault. Little did he expect it would escalate into such a mess. Xiao Yunduan grew frustrated. What is the Mei family plotting? Xiao couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. Now they all think that my husband is so lonely without anyone to look after him, so he should be showing concern for her. Chapter 1963. Anger. Hadn't it always been like this since ancient times? Officials and merchants colluded to euro. No, they cooperated. One party provided backing, while the other received monetary rewards. The Mei family might not have been the only ones contemplating such actions. It was just that the Mei family had acted first. After all, she was merely a concubine's daughter. So what if the process lacked glory? She was just theta euro, a concubine's daughter. Regardless of a merchant's power, they remained a merchant. Offering the daughter of a concubine to an official as a concubine, particularly to a young and promising official with a bright future, wouldn't bring shame to their family. Rather, it would be seen as an honor. Furthermore, it could yield benefits in the future. In any case, the Lu family wouldn't come out at a loss. They must have presented their proposal to Xiao Yunduan, who turned them down. That was why Xiao felt reassured. Now wasn't the time for jealousy. Xiao merely voiced his grievances. The primary concern was how to address this issue. As a local powerhouse, the Mei family wielded significant control over public sentiment. They adeptly manipulated and stoked the flames to ensure events unfolded seemingly naturally, detached from their involvement. 5 days had passed since the incident, and Xiao Yunduan and Xiao had missed the prime window for investigation and clarification. Even the rowdy individuals implicated in the night's events likely found themselves swiftly dealt with by the Mei family and relocated. With little recourse, Xiao Yunduan felt a deep sense of frustration. His sole solace lay in the fact that his wife remained understanding and refrained from causing a scene, sparing him further trouble. Expressing his discontent with both the Mei and Lu families, Xiao Yunduan sought to reassure Xiao. He vowed to resolve the issue and adamantly declared his refusal to marry the third daughter of the Lu family. Come what may in the court of public opinion, he was determined to dispel these rumors. Even if faced with criticism for not initially addressing the rumors, Xiao Yunduan felt compelled to set the record straight. Upon learning of the situation that day, he resolved not to let the rumors persist unchecked. Without delay, that very afternoon, Xiao Yunduan refuted the rumors and provided a full account of the events from that fateful night. Simultaneously, he steered and managed public opinion. As the prefect lord, honesty was his cornerstone. There was no need for deceit. If he truly harbored affection for Miss Lu, who happened to be a concubine's daughter, he believed that his sincerity alone would suffice to persuade the Lu family to consent to her joining him. There was no need for him to resort to rumors tantamount to coercion. Hence, this rumor was undoubtedly unfounded and certainly not of his making. His prior silence stemmed from his preoccupation with agricultural matters and road maintenance, leaving him oblivious to external affairs. Similarly, his wife, engrossed in farming, paid little heed to external happenings. The unfolding of events caught him off guard, and he acknowledged his fault in inadvertently implicating the innocent Miss Lu. He came forth to testify to Miss Lu's innocence and expressed his remorse, vowing to compensate the Lu family accordingly. Should the Lu family stipulate any condition, barring illegal or unethical demands, he pledged to fulfill them to the best of his ability. This assurance carried weight, for he held the esteemed position of Prefect Lord of An's prefecture city. Failure to uphold his word publicly would tarnish his reputation and jeopardize his future endeavors. Chapter 1964. Self-recommendation. Simultaneously, Xiao Yunduan gravely addressed the presence of an instigator working behind the scenes to sow discord between himself, the Lu family, and the Mei family. Their aim was to disrupt the harmony and progress of An's prefecture. Such a person was utterly despicable. He pledged to launch a covert investigation to uncover the identity of this malicious individual. Once found, they would face severe consequences for their sinister actions. These words reverberated with shock among the onlookers. Many were intimidated into silence, refraining from reckless discussions. Even if the flames of discontent burned within, they dared only to confide in their families behind closed doors, avoiding any brazen remarks. The citizens of An's city were well aware of Lord Xiao's capabilities. His stern warning quelled any further impudence. Despite their influence, were they as formidable as the bandits from the 3 villages? To Xiao Yunduan's surprise, second Old Master Lu, the father of third Miss Lu, visited the prefect's office the following day. Reluctantly, Xiao Yunduan appeared, understanding the gravity of the situation, despite his inner discontent. Second Old Master Lu approached with genuine contrition. He bowed deeply to Xiao Yunduan, expressing profound apologies and acknowledging the fault of the Lu family in the unfolding events. He explained that the Lu family had been caught off guard by the rumors, utterly bewildered by the situation. Given the involvement of the prefect lord, they hesitated to make any hasty remarks, fearing inadvertent offense. To do so would be a grave transgression. Hence, they awaited the prefect lord's declaration, hoping to gauge his stance first. Little did they anticipate that the prefect lord, engrossed in his administrative duties, remained unaware of the situation until it had escalated to its current state. The Lu family's shame was palpable. Xiao Yunduan clenched his jaw. Devoid of the Mei family's support, Xiao Yunduan found it difficult to believe that the Lu family would feign ignorance and perform a charade before him. As one of An's province's 2 prominent family clans, the Mei family managed to deceive everyone except him, displaying audacity bordering on arrogance by not even fearing his ire. Xiao Yunduan had little patience for second Old Master Lu's lengthy explanations. Cutting him off, he declared the matter resolved. As long as the Lu family remained reasonable, all would be well. His assurances stood firm. If the Lu family harbored any requests within his capacity to fulfill, he would not hesitate to oblige. To his surprise, second Old Master Lu made an immediate plea. He implored Xiao Yunduan to take Lu Xianyun as his concubine. Lord Xiao, you've met the girl. She is suitable to serve both you and your wife. The Lu family's sincerity is genuine, and the girl herself is willing. I earnestly hope that Lord Xiao can grant my wish. Lord Xiao, I understand your demanding schedule, and it might be challenging for Madame Xiao to manage alone. Despite my daughter's delicate appearance, she has received a thorough education from her mother. If she accompanies you and Madame, she will undoubtedly adhere to the rules and never overstep her bounds. You can trust in her obedience, Lord. Furthermore, with your formidable capabilities, who would dare to flout the regulations under your watchful eye? Given the circumstances, my daughter is, after all, a woman. This situation is somewhat a euro in addition. Perhaps it is fate. It seems too coincidental otherwise, don't you think? Chapter 1965. 3 May Brothers. Lord, I implore you to grant my request. Second Old Master Lu pleaded earnestly. He subtly hinted at Lu Xianyan's upbringing, emphasizing her education in etiquette, painting, and calligraphy since childhood. Should she become part of the Lu family, they would spare no expense on her dowry. Xiao Yunduan found Second Old Master Lu's words repugnant. Maintaining his composure, he instructed someone to escort Second Old Master Lu out of the room. The atmosphere within the prefectural government office had changed. Such brazenness and shamelessness were no longer tolerated. Despite his indignation, Second Old Master Lu refrained from causing a scene, his demeanor darkening as he departed in disappointment. His resilience was noteworthy. Though he left Xiao Yunduan's presence crestfallen, he regained his composure and dignity upon reaching the court's entrance, appearing calm and refined once more. It was as if he was having a great conversation with Lord Xiao. Those who didn't know better would think that he was satisfied. Second Old Master Lu did not go home directly. The carriage circled the streets and found a secluded alley with few people. After making many turns, he quietly entered through the corner door at the back of the Mei residence. The 3 old masters of the Mei family were all at home. It seemed like they were still waiting for him. How's that? How is it? Second Old Master Lu smiled bitterly. What did you say? Under the interrogation of the 3 brothers of the Mei family, Second Old Master Lu recounted the process of meeting Xiao Yunduan in detail. The more the 3 brothers of the Mei family listened, the worse their expressions became. Second Old Master Lu, the serious second brother-in-law of the Mei family, had always been a little afraid. Moreover, the Mei family was much stronger than the Lu family. Seeing this scene, they could not help but feel anxious and puzzled. However, he did not dare to say anything, let alone ask. Lord Xiao doesn't like anything. What does he want? Heh, you want someone like Madame Xiao, right? But I don't think that Madame Xiao is anything good. What do we do now? The 3 brothers of the Mei family were extremely depressed. Second Old Master Lu observed the exchange, attempting a smile as he spoke. Perhaps it's best to put this matter behind us. With Lord Xiao's clarification, I doubt anyone will dare to speak out. Besides, there's talk of compensation €1. What do you understand? Third Old Master Mei interjected furiously. Clarification? Who needed clarification when they were eager for the rumors to gain traction? And compensation? What good would it do? It wasn't that they doubted Xiao Yunduan's sincerity, but they knew it wasn't what they desired. Second Old Master Lu remained silent, inwardly lamenting. Even before the Fan family's demise, the Mei family stood at the forefront of the 3 prominent families in An's prefecture city. Their prosperity in recent years had made them a towering presence akin to the sun in the sky. What cause did they have for fear? For Xiao Yunduan to effectively govern An's prefecture and foster economic growth, he relied on the support of these prominent families. With the Fan family already eliminated, if Xiao Yunduan were to unjustly harm the Mei family, wouldn't he worry about the repercussions from other influential families? If the region were to destabilize, he, as the governing official, could forget about maintaining stability. Surely, he wasn't so foolish? He struggled to comprehend their intentions. Chapter 1966. One direct strike. First Master Mei asked Second Old Master Lu to go back first. The moment he left, the 3 old masters of the Mei family became even more frustrated. Elder brother, I feel uneasy. It won't be good if this matter isn't resolved. Lord Xiao is so difficult to deal with. Elder brother, what should we do? Alas! Old Master Mei also felt unprecedented frustration. Lord Xiao wasn't motivated by wealth or enticed by beauty, and his family couldn't offer him power. It seemed he lacked any other interests. Even if he did have hobbies, his family likely couldn't provide anything to captivate him. With his abundant wealth, wouldn't he simply procure whatever he desired? Consider his swift acquisition of the vast land around Liuhe Fort, not to mention the 60,000 mu of fertile land and numerous shops formerly belonging to the Fan family. He made these purchases without hesitation. Not to mention, the state government still owed their family over 100,000 taels of silver. Even if they resorted to force, they wouldn't stand a chance against him. It was like facing an impregnable fortress. What could they possibly do against such a formidable opponent? After a pause, Old Master Mei spoke slowly. Do you think Lord Xiao suspects our involvement in the Lu family's affair? Third Old Master Mei, never one for subtlety, blurted out. Of course he might. Otherwise, why would the Lu family dare to act? Old Master Mei sneered. Indeed. If that's the case, since we've already incurred his displeasure, why not go all the way? Their family didn't necessarily need to be on good terms with Lord Xiao. They simply needed to remain indispensable. Whether the relationship between the Mei and Lu families was coerced or genuinely harmonious mattered little. Thus, when Xiao Yunduan refuted the rumors and silence prevailed, Second Ms. Lu accompanied Lu Xianyun to the state office the day after Second Old Master Lu's visit. They requested to see Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian had just briefed Mian Mian, Songshi, and Lu Fu on the impending arrival of the first batch of pepper and fruit trees, instructing them to prepare for planting. She also outlined plans for decorating the mansion at Liuhe Manor. Upon hearing of Second Ms. Lu's arrival, she adjusted her attire with a smirk. The antics of the Lu family were rather amusing. Hadn't her husband already made himself abundantly clear? As the lord of the prefect, was there any need for him to deceive? Naturally, the reputation of this young lady from the Lu family remained untarnished. They came yesterday and came today. They were so insensible. Did they really want to marry and not become enemies? Greetings, Madame Xiao. Greetings, Madame Xiao. Second Ms. Lu led Lu Xianyun and her attendants, who knelt upon arrival. Lu Xianyun introduced herself, prompting Qiao Xian to cast another glance at her. With a smile, Qiao Xian invited them to sit and ordered tea. Second Ms. Lu, what brings you here? As soon as Second Ms. Lu settled, she rose again, prompting Lu Xianyun to follow suit. Madame Xiao, I implore your mercy. I come to plead on behalf of someone. Pretending ignorance, Qiao Xian arched an eyebrow, feigning innocence. That's peculiar. I can't fathom why the Lu family would seek my clemency. Second Ms. Lu, are you jesting with me? I wouldn't dare jest with you, Madame Xiao. No matter your intelligence, dignity and virtue, I wouldn't dare deceive you. It's all because of this girl. Chapter 1967. Leaving her behind. I understand that the blame has been directed towards the Lu family for this incident. We were sluggish in our response and nearly tarnished Lord Xiao's reputation. I extend my sincerest apologies to you and Lord Xiao. Qiao Xian didn't concern herself with whether this was a retreat or not. An apology was forthcoming, and she accepted it. It's true that the Lu family's reaction to this matter was delayed. Our lord is occupied and genuinely unaware of these rumors. Likewise, I was unaware. Had I known, I would have promptly stepped in to address the falsehoods. Why didn't you dispatch someone to inform us sooner? Allowing these rumors to fester and tarnish your daughter's reputation is quite lamentable. Second Ms. Lu was taken aback. Yes, Madame Xiao, you're correct. Qiao Xian continued. So your purpose in coming here is to apologize for this? That's unnecessary. Our lord has already quashed the rumors, and he's not one to hold grudges. Once the misunderstanding is cleared, he won't hold you accountable. Second Ms. Lu remained speechless. Qiao Xian had conveyed her message. However, recalling her eldest sister-in-law's counsel, Qiao Xian realized there was more she needed to address, despite having said quite a bit already. However, Second Ms. Lu didn't dare to say any nice words or play any tricks. Madame Xiao didn't fall for it at all. Second Ms. Lu feigned ignorance of Qiao Xian's implication, gazing at her with sincerity. Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao, I appreciate your kindness, but not everyone in this world possesses such generosity. There are countless fools who revel in mocking and attacking my third daughter with their vile words. She suffers unjustly. Madame Xiao, today I come to plead, despite the discomfort it brings me, to beseech you to allow the three of us to remain. We have been educated in etiquette and manners since childhood through women's ring and women's training. We are well behaved and modest. We can assist you in shouldering your burdens. Rest assured, Madame Xiao, upon entering your household, she will dutifully obey your instructions and defer to your authority. She will seek your guidance in all matters and never act against your wishes. I implore you, Madame Xiao, to grant her a place to reside and silence those who gossip. I beg of you to show compassion. Lu Xianyun cast a pitiful glance at Qiao Xian before humbly lowering her head and kneeling silently, displaying her submission. Qiao Xian remained silent. Second Ms. Lu persisted. Madame Xiao, forgive me for overstepping my bounds. Lord Xiao is young, talented, and destined for greatness. He may one day ascend to high office. Currently, he lacks a companion, but in the Futuria Euro he will possess wealth and influence beyond your capacity to manage alone. Rather than risk him forming ties with individuals ignorant of his background and beyond your control, it's prudent to plan ahead. I cannot promise much, but I assure you that my third daughter will be faithful and obedient to you. You need only guide her, and the Lu family will not intervene. Chapter 1968. Personally send it back, if you doubt our sincerity. Am willing to swear an oath, written and witnessed. I can even have our third miss swear to it. We're earnest in our request, Madam Xiao. Please grant it. Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel perplexed. Why was the Mei family so insistent? Did they possess such discerning taste? Were they so confident in her husband's future success that they felt compelled to issue an early warning? Well, address the future when it arrives. I'm not one to concern myself with long-term planning. After all, circumstances can change unexpectedly, can't they? No plan, no matter how meticulous, can guarantee a smooth journey ahead. I'm rather obstinate and inclined to disregard advice. Second Ms. Lu, there's no need for further discussion. Let's conclude this matter here. If there's nothing else, Second Ms. Lu, kindly escort Third Miss Lu back. Madam Xiaoyuro, Lixia Liqiu, see our guests off. Yes, Second Ms. Lu, this way please. Lixia and Liqiu, irked by Second Ms. Lu's persistence, hastened to usher her out. With no alternative, Second Ms. Lu rose and departed. Lu Xianyun obediently followed her mother out of the office. However, just as they were about to depart the back office, Second Ms. Lu claimed she had dropped her handkerchief and instructed Lu Xianyun to retrieve it for her. Lu Xianyun dutifully turned back to search, only to find herself abandoned as Second Ms. Lu departed with the maidservants. Meanwhile, Lu Xianyun, fulfilling her filial duty, eventually located a handkerchief for her birth mother. However, she was not inside the office. Rather, she knelt before the east gate of the state government office. Passers-by couldn't help but crane their necks, murmuring in hushed tones and speculating about the situation. Euro Qiao Xian swiftly caught wind of the situation, her expression darkening. Li Xia and the others were taken aback. Has the Lu family lost their minds? How audacious! Madam, what shall we do now? We cannot allow Third Miss Lu to kneel there indefinitely. Indeed, it's improper for others to witness this. Those unaware may assume our household mistreats Hera Euro. This person naturally could not stay there, nor could he be called in. Lu Xianyun was alone. If she was asked to enter the east courtyard now, it would be hard to explain. Li Xia and the others were right. The Lu family was extraordinarily bold. They were blatantly coercing them. Prepare the carriage. I'll take her back myself. Qiao Xian got up. When Qiao Xian came in person, the Lu family had no choice but to open the door. Second Ms. Lu, overwhelmed with guilt, concealed herself and avoided encountering Qiao Xian. Unperturbed, Qiao Xian escorted Lu Xianyun back to First Madam Lu, explaining with a smile, I engaged in a brief conversation with Third Miss Lu, which delayed her return. As I happened to be leaving, I took the opportunity to accompany her back. Now that she's safely home, I must bid you farewell as I have other matters to attend to. The Lu family hadn't anticipated Qiao Xian's swift return with Lu Xianyun. Did Lord Xiao remain unaware of the situation? Madame Xiao's apparent disdain for Miss Lu was unmistakable. She made her decisions swiftly and decisively. What could First Madame Lu say? As the matriarch of the family, even amidst the gossip, Qiao Xian, the prefect's wife, asserted that she had detained Lu Xianyun briefly before sending her home. How could First Madame Lu challenge her authority? The family matriarch couldn't afford such a loss of face. While Second Ms. Lu remained absent, Lu Xianyun's biological mother, Concubine Yen, was present. Chapter 1969. Concubine Yen. Before First Madame Lu could respond, Concubine Yen interjected calmly. Madame Xiao, what do you imply? Doesn't Lord Xiao favor our third daughter and wish for her to become his concubine? Have you consulted Lord Xiao about this matter? Is it appropriate for Madame Xiao to dismiss our daughter? Concubine Yan's words were not rooted in genuine knowledge. Rather, Second Old Master Lu had instructed her to speak thus. Nonetheless, she felt a sense of satisfaction in carrying out his directive. Consider the context. Ordinarily, she wouldn't even merit a meeting with the prefect's wife. Yet, here she stood, facing her directly, subject to her reproach and questioning. How dignified and gratifying. Furthermore, Lu Xianyun was the only daughter. Without this opportunity, her prospects might involve a marriage to a lesser son of a concubine, or even a family far beneath the Lu's status. How could anyone compare to Lord Xiao? It was widely known that Ms. Qiao was the sole wife of Lord Xiao, without any concubines. Marrying into such a household would elevate Lu Xianyun's status significantly, especially with support from both the Lu and Mei families. With time, bearing a son and daughter would further enhance her standing. This opportunity was akin to a ticket to greatness. Passing it up would mean foregoing such a lucrative opportunity. Most significantly, Lord Xiao had unequivocally shown favoritism toward Lu Xianyun. His defense of her that night, along with his instructions to escort her home, spoke volumes. Thus, when concubine Yan boldly confronted Qiao Xian, she exuded an air of confidence. Qiao Xian's demeanor turned icy as she addressed First Madame Lu. "Anthesa Euro?" First Madame Lu observed the scene with a demeanor akin to watching a theatrical performance. She interjected with a smile. "This is concubine Yan, the biological mother of our third daughter. She is inexperienced in such matters and her words may lack finesse. Madame Xiao, I hope you'll forgive her forthrightness." Qiao Xian scoffed. "Is there no one else left in the Lu family? Or does a concubine now hold authority? Do you believe I am so insignificant that even a concubine is permitted to prattle before me? If you recognize the ignorance and rudeness of concubines, why permit her to speak out of turn in my presence?" First Madame Lu was taken aback. Concubine Yan grew flustered. "Oh, Madame Xiao, you can't a euro. How dare you?" Lixia's glare bore into concubine Yan. "Have you no regard for my mistress' words? Does the Lu family hold my wife in such low esteem?" Startled, concubine Yan faltered, turning to First Madame Lu for assistance. First Madame Lu intervened, restraining concubine Yan, and offered a placating smile to Qiao Xian. "Madame Xiao, please accept our apologies. We hold you in the highest regard. Concubine Yan is not always rational and tends to become overly anxious. Please pardon her." Qiao Xian regarded them with a faint smile, remarking, "If I were to take offense and not let her off lightly, it would reflect poorly on my character. Considering her insolence, I could have reprimanded her and castigated the Lu family for her impudence. Moreover, hasn't our lord already refuted these rumors? What basis does she have for her claims? When has our lord ever indicated a desire to take her as his concubine? Concubine Yan, did you hear such words directly from our lord? Or did someone from your family relay this information?" Concubine Yan recoiled, remaining silent. "Speak up," Qiao Xian demanded sharply. "I've posed a question to you. What are you waiting for?" Chapter 1970. Berating concubine Yan's heart raced with panic, her face draining of color as she turned to First Madame Lu for guidance. What should she say now? How could she possibly know how to navigate this situation? First Madame Lu, equally flustered, offered a strained smile. "Madame Xiao, I believe there must have been a misunderstanding on concubine Yan's part." "Yes, indeed. These rumors have been circulating outside. Why wouldn't they be? Lord Xiao's actions during the Lantern Festival clearly indicated his protection of our third miss." Concubine Yan interjected hastily, attempting to justify her previous statement. Qiao Xian's anger simmered beneath the surface as she glanced at First Madame Lu. "What a fascinating family dynamic you have. Despite Lord's refutation of the rumors, why would someone within the family entertain such absurd notions? And to think it's the biological mother of third Miss Lu. Like mother like daughter, indeed. What sort of character does third Miss Lu possess? How could you dare to propose such an alliance to our lord? Are you attempting to demean his honor?" First Madame Lu and concubine Yan's expressions shifted uneasily. "Madame Xiao, you have misunderstood. That's what the rumors allege. Even if we don't voice it, others will. But it seems that it's too late to halt the spread of gossip now. Has our misreputation been tarnished in vain?" "That's your concern," Qiao Xian retorted icily. "Lord has already dispelled these rumors. If anyone dares to utter falsehoods again, you have every right to take them to court, and Lord will mete out justice impartially. How can you claim her reputation is sullied? All of Anza's inhabitants fall under Lord's jurisdiction, and when he perceives injustice, he intervenes. Even if it hadn't been your daughter that night, Lord would have acted the same." Are you implying that our lord should be held accountable for every baseless rumor? That's preposterous. What regard does your Lu family have for our lord? Do you think you have the authority to make decisions on his behalf? Should our lord bear responsibility for the malicious machinations of those with dark, deceitful, and shameless intentions who fabricate rumors to besmirch his name? But on that day, our lord has already refuted the rumors, rendering any further discussion irrelevant. Qiao Xian cut off concubine Yan's attempted defense, unwilling to entertain further fruitless debate. Some individuals were simply beyond reasoning with, and she deemed it more prudent to set a firm example. With a piercing gaze, Qiao Xian turned her attention to First Madame Lu. First Madame Lu, how do you propose to discipline a servant who disrespects their superior and slanders their master? Caught off guard, First Madame Lu sensed the weight of the question, recognizing it as a potential trap. Nevertheless, she had no choice but to respond. If such a servant were to exist, we would have to expel them from the household. We might administer a punishment such as a beating or selling them away to a distant location. Indeed, we cannot tolerate such insubordination within our ranks. Failure to address it would only lead to chaos within the family. As for concubine Yan, not only did she disregard my authority, but she also propagated false rumors and besmirched our lord's reputation. While she may hold a higher position than a common servant, she is still a concubine. Shouldn't she face appropriate consequences for her actions? First Madame Lu's eyelids twitched nervously, sensing the gravity of the situation. Concubine Yan's panicked plea fell on deaf ears as Qiao Xian continued to address First Madame Lu directly. Are you, First Madame Lu, the esteemed mistress of the Lu family? Qiao Xian's tone carried a hint of sarcasm and disdain, causing First Madame Lu's heart to sink. The implications of her response weighed heavily on her, realizing the potential consequences if word of this confrontation were to spread. Chapter 1971. Punishment. Madame Xiao was so persistent that concubine Yan was going to suffer. First Madame Lu took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Madame Xiao is right, concubine Yan should be punished. She should be slapped 20 times and grounded for a month. Qiao Xian did not say anything. Seeing that, First Madame Lu gritted her teeth and said, 30 slaps and 3 months ground. Qiao Xian said with a smile, You are a concubine after all, so that is fine. Please go ahead. He was going to watch concubine Yan get slapped. First Madame Lu was helpless. Ignoring concubine Yan's protests, she had no choice but to order the maids to slap her. With Qiao Xian staring at her, the maid did not dare to conserve her energy. She was just following orders, and second old master would not blame her for what happened afterwards. But if she saved her energy, Madame Xiao might say something, and she would be the unlucky one. Concubine Yan was very capable and beautiful. Although she was over 30 years old, second old master Lu still liked her. She lived a luxurious life, and her skin, especially the skin on her face, was white and tender. The force of the slaps was like striking tender tofu, yet despite the brutality, concubine Yan's once flawless complexion was now marred by red welts and tears. As her cries echoed through the room, her disheveled appearance and anguished wails drew the attention of countless servants who had been clandestinely observing the scene unfold. First Madame Lu, her skin crawling with discomfort, exchanged anxious glances with Qiao Xian, realizing the potential ramifications of her actions. With a sinking feeling in her gut, she gritted her teeth, knowing that her decision might incur the wrath of her husband, second old master Lu. Regret gnawed at her conscience. If she had foreseen this outcome, she would have prevented Lu Xianyun from leaving and kept her by her side. Despite concubine Yan's tearful pleas, the punishment continued unabated under the watchful eye of Madame Xiao. 30 resounding slaps left her cheeks red and swollen, her once immaculate appearance now disheveled and marred by tears and sweat. Qiao Xian regarded her with a mixture of pity and exasperation. You're just a concubine. Can't you live peacefully? Why invite trouble with your words? Spreading rumors only brings punishment upon yourself. She then turned her attention to the broader consequences of concubine Yan's actions. Consider your daughter. With a mother like you, her prospects as a concubine's daughter will only diminish. Who would want to marry into a family plagued by such scandal? Your irresponsibility condemns her to a life of misery. Concubine Yan stared up at Qiao Xian in shock, her realization dawning slowly. First Madame Lu, feeling the weight of Qiao Xian's words, ordered assistance for concubine Yan, cursing her own misfortune at being provoked in such a manner. Xiao Xian's final words held a mix of reproach and recognition. Punishment for mistakes, reward for contributions. That's how a family should operate. You, First Madam, are indeed decisive and admirable. Upon hearing the compliment, First Madam Lu felt a surge of frustration that threatened to overwhelm her. She clenched her teeth to suppress it. Madam Xiao, your praise is too kind. Xiao Xian offered a serene smile. No, you truly deserve the title of First Madam Lu. First Madam Lu seethed inwardly. She had been outmaneuvered. It was best to remain silent. First Madam Lu, refrain from harboring any more ill intentions or spreading baseless rumors. Remember, trouble often arises from careless speech. First Madam Lu's heart skipped a beat as she exchanged a glance with Xiao Xian. With a final smile, Xiao Xian departed with Li Xia and the others. Chapter 1972. Crying First Madam Lu calmed her racing heart and sought out her old master. Meanwhile, upon returning home, Xiao Xian found Xiao Yunduan waiting for her. With a smile, Xiao Xian remarked, "You've heard about it too? No worries. I handled the situation at the Lu family." Xiao Yunduan's expression turned icy. The Mei family must be out of their minds to pull such a stunt. Xiao Xian led him to sit down, her tone casual. "As long as you don't hold it against me, I can manage. It's not much trouble." Xiao Yunduan's demeanor softened, and he grasped her hands, smiling gently. "It's not just trouble. It's utterly disgusting. I usually don't bother with these matters, but it's all because of my wife." His words implied that she had full authority to handle such situations as she saw fit in the future. Xiao Xian smiled in agreement, finally feeling some relief after the ordeal at the Lu family. Concubine Yan was returned to her quarters amid wails and shrieks, startling everyone in the household. Lu Xianyun gazed at her father tearfully. Hadn't Madame Xiao been described as affable? She had managed to reconcile with the Fan family despite their conflicts. Why then had she treated her aunt so harshly? As the wife of the prefect, she was actually calculative with a concubine. She did not care about her face at all. First Madame Lu felt guilty and hurried to explain. Second Old Master Lu felt humiliated, but he did not want to get angry with his sister-in-law, so he said a few words. As soon as First Madame Lu left, he asked Concubine Yan's maid with a dark face, "What happened?" The maid trembled uncontrollably and told him everything, including what Concubine Yan had said. Lu Xianyun blushed when she heard this, and her heart throbbed inexplicably. When the concubine found out that the Mei family intended to help her marry Lord Xiao as a concubine, she told her a lot about her future prospects in private. Her heart was in a mess, and her heart was in turmoil. Her ambition was aroused. She seemed to think that Lord Xiao had noticed her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have compensated her and asked someone to send her home. She had totally forgotten that Xiao Yunduan, as the lord of the prefect, was suspected to have damaged someone else's things in front of everyone. How could he not compensate her? As for getting Sun Bai to send her home, she was the one who asked for it, and it had nothing to do with Xiao Yunduan. Concubine Yan's mouth was sore and swollen, and she was so angry that she cried out in frustration. "Old Master, it was all Madame Xiao's idea today, and all the servants who came were from the back of the house. I didn't even see a single bailiff. Lord Xiao and Lord Xiao might not even know about this. Our third daughter is so nice, and Lord Xiao is not at a disadvantage. No man would refuse such a beautiful thing. I think Madame Xiao must have done it on her own. Sob, Old Master, even if you don't care about me, you have to stand up for our third daughter. Why don't you ask the Mei family for help? Our third daughter can't be harmed like this." Lu Xianyun also looked at her father eagerly, hoping for his support. Second Old Master Lu was also indignant. He stomped his feet and went to the Mei family again to seek assistance. First Mrs. Mei cut to the chase when she met with Xiao Xian directly. The Mei family did not have a girl of the right age, and the third daughter of the Lu family was a mature and polite woman. The Mei family had no evil intention. They simply wished to present her as a gift to Lord Xiao. Chapter 1973. Deal with this arrangement. The Mei family pledged their unwavering support to Lord Xiao. Regardless of his actions, they would stand by him. Essentially, it was a transaction. In this exchange, the Mei family sought a powerful ally. With their backing, Lord Xiao would undoubtedly gain advantages. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement. Of course, Lu Xianyun was the daughter of a concubine. Given that Madame Xiao had already borne Lord Xiao's eldest son, and Lord Xiao was not one to favor concubines over his wife, there was no need for concern. If Madame Xiao felt that Lu Xianyun had erred, she could reprimand her. She even proposed to Lord Xiao that if he did not accept Lu Xianyun, they could find another suitable candidate. First, Mrs. Mai's words seemed forthright and sincere, as though she was merely discussing matters of wealth and influence. But Qiao Xian found the whole conversation repugnant. Then, without hesitation, she turned down the offer. Though she valued her reputation greatly, being the wife of an official demanded it, she couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy when first Mrs. Mai proposed the alliance. Because only a jealous woman would reject such an advantageous offer, one that could benefit her husband without posing any harm. Only a woman consumed by jealousy. Qiao Xian seethed at the thought of how the Mai family was attempting to manipulate her into jealousy. She was not about to give first Mrs. Mai any satisfaction. If I say no, then it's no. My husband has no need for such connections. Spare your efforts and don't approach him. Even if he were to consider it, I would never agree. And if I don't agree, no woman will enter the Xiao family. Do you understand? Nevertheless, my husband genuinely desires to govern An's province in harmony with its inhabitants. Any family, so long as they conduct themselves properly, adhere to the law, and refrain from underhanded activities, need not fear him. He will support them wholeheartedly. You can rest assured. First Mrs. Mai's attempts at persuasion fell flat. Old Master Mai took matters into his own hands and approached Xiao Yunduan directly, but the outcome was no different. Upon returning to the East Yard, Xiao Yunduan relayed to Qiao Xian. Deputy Prefect Jia hinted that there might be something off about the Mai family. Qiao Xian was taken aback. What do you mean? Xiao Yunduan sighed with a bitter smile. I'm not sure either, and Deputy Prefect Jia couldn't quite put his finger on it either. But there's definitely something peculiar going on. Otherwise, the Mai family wouldn't be acting this way. It's out of character for them. He sensed that something was awry. Jia Hemming's reminder had sparked a realization within him. But the exact nature of the situation remained elusive. Unable to decipher the mystery, Qiao Xian smiled and said, "We needn't dwell on it. Whatever their intentions are, they'll reveal themselves in due time." Xiao Yunduan nodded, gently grasping her shoulders. "I've already instructed Zhang Sang to discreetly investigate. Just to be safe, you should avoid going out these days. And if you must, ensure you're accompanied by additional guards." Qiao Xian chuckled. "I'll be cautious, don't worry." The trauma from her abduction by the fourth prince's men would linger for a lifetime. Qiao Xian empathized with him deeply. Chapter 1974. Returning to hometown following that incident, the Mai family ceased their persistent efforts. No longer were they bothered by unwanted visitors. As for the Lu family, stripped of the Mai family's backing, they no longer posed a threat. Several days later, during a gathering of young ladies from affluent families in An's province, third Miss Lu had a near-fatal accident when she fell into the water. Miraculously rescued, she suffered severe shock and hypothermia, requiring extended bed rest for recovery. The uncertainty surrounding her recuperation cast a shadow over her future. Qiao Xian couldn't help but feel relieved that she hadn't attended the gathering herself, as her absence would have raised suspicions. In late January, a letter arrived from Shaoding village. Tao Tao and Zhao Shu's wedding date had been set for the 8th of March. Zhao Shu remained occupied with business matters in Jiangnan. After finalizing arrangements for the year, he would journey to Yuzhong, accompanied by relatives and elders from within a 500-meter radius of Heshan County. Upon arrival, they would celebrate with a grand wedding for Zhao Shu and Tao Tao. With Zhao Shu's willingness to spare no expense, a sizable contingent of relatives was expected to attend, eager to partake in the festivities. Thanks to his generosity, accommodations and provisions for the journey would be arranged without hesitation. Who wouldn't seize the opportunity to join such a joyous occasion? Especially his cousins and uncles were eager to participate in the festivities. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan shared in their joy for the couple. With the wedding plans settled, anticipation filled the air. As Xiao Yunduan was restricted to official duties, Qiao Xian planned to return around the 12th of February, accompanied by Anan. Choosing a later departure date would ensure warmer weather and allow Anan to grow a little, providing Qiao Xian with greater peace of mind. Although Xiao Xian felt she could depart immediately if not for Ainan's welfare, she understood the importance of waiting. Each day brought changes in the child's development, making him more resilient with time. Preparations commenced as they packed their belongings and gathered gifts for the occasion. The entourage accompanying them also finalized their list of attendees. Wuxia and the others naturally joined, while Sun Qian was entrusted with leading 26 subordinates to provide security. On February 11th, Xiao Xian and their party embarked on their journey. Departing from An's prefecture city at dawn, they maintained a low profile, attracting little attention. Unbeknownst to many, Xiao Xian was en route to her hometown. That was Xiao Yunduan's intention as well. He would feel more assured if their journey remained discreet. Furthermore, while Xiao Xian eagerly anticipated returning home, she also worried about Xiao Yunduan. In recent days, she had nagged at him incessantly. At night, she was different, her passion fiery yet gentle to the core. She seemed to want to envelop him completely. And he was more than willing to comply. However, amidst his happiness, a pang of heartache tugged at him. He couldn't help but wonder how many promises her tender words concealed. Yet having her by his side was enough. He couldn't bear to see her sad. Keeping a low profile was imperative. It was best if no one knew they had left An's prefecture city. 5 days later, they arrived in Yuzhong province. As the wagon passed through the gates, Xiao Xian lifted the curtain, gazing outside. The sights grew increasingly familiar, filling her with happiness. Finally they were home. Given the size of the Yuezhing family, Xiao Xian headed directly there upon arrival. Chapter 1975. Arriving at Yuzhong, Xiao Xian also penned a letter to First Madam while on the journey home. First Madam anticipated her arrival in a couple of days, eagerly awaiting her return. Therefore, as soon as they arrived at the gates of the Yuezhing family, the gatekeeper recognized Xiao Xian and hurried in to report the news. A few moments later, First Madam emerged, accompanied by her eldest daughter-in-law and the housekeeper's wife. Xiao Xian stepped out of the carriage and saw First Madam, her heart warmed by the sight, and a bright smile lit up her face. "Hey, elder aunt. Xian. You're truly back." "Haha, that's right. It's been a rushed journey. I've missed you all." Xiao Xian hastened forward and linked arms with First Madam. Everyone exchanged smiles and greetings. Lu Zhang expressed some words of concern for Xiao Xian, his gaze softening upon seeing the baby in the nanny's arms. "So this is Ainan?" "Indeed, she carries the features of both you and Lord Xiao. She's quite handsome and utterly charming." Like any mother, Xiao Xian beamed with joy hearing her son praised, even more so than herself. With a smile she responded, "Babies are so pure and delicate in their youth, with eyes so dark and bright. Indeed, she's quite lovable." She scooped Ainan into her arms and greeted First Madam with a wave of her hand. Ainan showed no fear of strangers. Babbling as he looked at First Madam, his beautiful black eyes reflected both joy and confusion. First Madam adored him instantly. She pinched his little cheeks and playfully teased him with her delicate hands. When she tried to reach for him, Ainan responded eagerly, reaching out with open arms, eliciting laughter from everyone. With a smile, First Madam took him into her arms and led the way into the courtyard with Xiao Xian and the others. Since Xiao Xian and the others returned unexpectedly, First Madam hadn't prepared a formal banquet. They were family, so there was no need for such formality. Instead, she instructed the kitchen to prepare a few extra dishes that Xiao Xian liked for dinner, and arranged for someone to prepare some minced meat porridge for Ainan. After a while, Xiao Xian and First Madam found themselves engaged in conversation in the parlor. First Madam's eldest daughter-in-law attended to the household tasks and made arrangements for Xiao Xian's entourage. Wuxia and the others, weary from the journey, retired to rest. Since Xiao Xian was with First Madam, they were excused from serving her directly. Ainan, on the other hand, may have been sleeping during the journey, but now in this new environment, everything fascinated him. He was so enthralled that sleep eluded him entirely. The nanny and others found it difficult to rest as well, so they brought him to play on the small bed behind the jade cabinet. First Madam's welcoming gift for Ainan was a gold longevity lock adorned with gemstones. It featured various auspicious motifs symbolizing wealth and longevity, and its design was exquisite. The bright yellow jade was set with rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and jades, creating a sparkling and colorful luxury that children adored. Ainan held onto it tightly, playing with it happily. With Anan occupied in First Madam's room, Xianxia felt at ease. She couldn't help but share every detail of their reunion with First Madam. And even now, Xiao Yunduan continued to keep his promise, wholeheartedly treating Xianxia with care. First Madam was genuinely happy for her. Chapter 1976. Small gathering. First Madam agreed that Xianxia was lucky to have Lord Xiao by her side. He was indeed a good man. As for the uncertainties of the future, First Madam acknowledged that no one could predict with certainty. She hoped Xianxia would always be fine, but she couldn't ignore the potential flaws in men's character. There were too many variables to consider. Although Xiao Yunduan was currently only a prefect, who knew what the future held? What if he ascended to a higher position in the government? However, whenever Xianxia spoke about Xiao Yunduan, her demeanor softened, and First Madam couldn't bring herself to dampen her spirits. Instead, she chose to praise Xianxia's good fortune. With Anan, the firstborn son of the primary wife, and a substantial estate with vast wealth, Xianxia was indeed blessed. A woman had her son to support her and her wealth to sustain her. As for her husband, if he proved reliable, she would stand by him. If not, she would be prepared to part ways. In case of any adversity in the future, Xianxia could draw strength from the wisdom shared during their conversation today. Xianxia didn't fully grasp First Madam's implications, but she listened attentively. Thoughts of Anan filled her with joy. Taking advantage of the discussion about Tao Tao's family, Xianxia seized the moment to seek advice from First Madam. Tao Tao was marrying into the affluent Zhao family from Jiangnan, a milieu Xianxia had never encountered before. She felt unequipped to handle the intricacies of such a prominent family, let alone navigate the dynamics with her mother-in-law, Ms. Fong, and her two sisters-in-law. This was precisely why she had returned home earlier than planned. There were numerous decisions awaiting her attention regarding household arrangements and preparations. Moreover, with many guests expected from the Zhao family, the Xiao family couldn't afford to be negligent. They had to ensure Tao Tao's standing was impeccable, preventing anyone in the Zhao family from looking down on her. Despite Xiao Yunduan holding the position of prefect in An's province, the Xiao family lacked the same social standing and wealth as the Zhao family. Xiao Yunduan's authority didn't carry the same weight in the south as it did in the remote An's province, making it difficult to assert influence over the Zhao family. Thus, it was imperative for the Zhao family to witness the Xiao family's strength firsthand to earn their respect. First Madam had been deeply involved in wedding preparations, so she was well versed in every detail of the ceremony. Xianxia eagerly shared all she knew with her. Their conversation flowed joyously, and even as dinner was served, they found themselves reluctant to end their discussion. Noticing that most of the 12 sumptuous dishes laid out before her were her favorites, Xianxia couldn't help but feel touched. With a grateful smile, she looked up at First Madam and playfully remarked, "Elder Aunt, you spoil me so much. You remembered all my favorites." First Madam chuckled heartily. "I have a good memory, you know. You're still young. How can you be considered old?" Their laughter filled the air as they savored their meal together. First Madam showed great concern for Xianxia's well-being, especially considering her exhausting journey. As night fell, Anan became restless, demanding his mother's attention. Recognizing Xianxia's fatigue, First Madam arranged for her to retire to bed. Before bidding her good night, First Madam reassured Xianxia, urging her not to fret about the affairs of the province and to feel at ease. She promised that even if Xianxia needed anything in the middle of the night or if Anan grew hungry, the servants would be at her beck and call. She had even instructed the kitchen to prepare pigeon porridge in a casserole on the small stove, a comforting thought for Xianxia. Grateful for First Madam's thoughtfulness, Xianxia nodded with a warm smile, feeling deeply touched by her kindness. Chapter 1977. Returning to Xiaoding village the following day, Xianxia and her companions prepared to depart. First Madam entrusted Auntie Hua, her trusted confidant, to accompany Xianxia and offer assistance. Auntie Hua was a pillar of strength, possessing a wealth of experience and a calm, meticulous demeanor. With her by Xianxia's side, everything would proceed smoothly. As Tao Tao's wedding approached, guests from the Yuezhing family would soon arrive to extend their congratulations. First Madam informed Xianxia that she intended to join them a few days in advance. Expressing her gratitude, Xianxia smiled and thanked First Madam sincerely. Taking Xianxia's hands in hers, First Madam returned the smile and spoke warmly. "No need for such formality with me. It's because of your understanding that I feel comfortable offering my help. I'm just glad you don't see me as meddling. Indeed, few would welcome interference in such significant matters as marriage. It was a testament to the trust and camaraderie between them that First Madam felt comfortable lending Auntie Hua's assistance. Understanding First Madam's sentiment, Xiao Xian reassured her with a smile. You're not an outsider to me, and I appreciate your support. My mother-in-law will undoubtedly be grateful to you, just as I am. First Madam nodded with a smile, then scooped Anan into her arms, gently pinching his cheeks and playing with him. She watched as mother and daughter climbed into the carriage, surrounded by the bustling crowd. After a day of travel, they finally arrived back in Shaoding village by evening. Miss Fong had been eagerly anticipating their return every day, and her joy knew no bounds now that her dreams had come true. Tao Tao couldn't contain her excitement as she enveloped Xiao Xian in a tight embrace, laughing joyfully. Miss Fong greeted Xiao Xian warmly, her eyes brimming with happiness as she inquired about Xiao Yunduan. Anan's presence only added to her delight, and she couldn't help but smile. Xiao Dalong, Ms. Su, Xiao Sanlang, Yang Xiaoni, and the others all shared in the jubilation. They surrounded Xiao Xian, exchanging greetings and well wishes. Even Chunyu and the seasoned servants couldn't contain their happiness. Word had spread throughout the village that Xiao Xian had returned with her children. The sight of several carriages and a retinue of dozens of servants made quite the impression. It was a testament to the prosperity of their family. Indeed, as Xiao Lulang had suggested, An's province seemed to be a land of opportunity. If it were not so, Lord Xiao wouldn't have attained such wealth, and Madame Xiao's return wouldn't have been so grandiose. Suddenly, the first section of the Xiao family's courtyard was bustling with activity as many people gathered there. The yard became alive with chatter and laughter, everyone smiling and greeting Xiao Xian warmly. Anan garnered particular attention, with everyone marveling at his adorable appearance and apparent intelligence. He was truly the pride of the Xiao family. After a while, Ms. Fong and her daughter-in-law, seeing that Xiao Xian and her grandson were tired from the journey, suggested that they retire to rest. They bid farewell, promising to return the next morning, and one by one, the guests departed. With the courtyard gate closed, tranquility finally returned to the house. The servants who had accompanied them were duly settled, and preparations for dinner were underway. A table was set in the main room, awaiting their arrival. Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni, along with the household staff, were busy in the kitchen. They prepared a feast fit for the occasion, including stewed chicken with mushrooms, braised duck, and steamed mandarin fish fresh from the backyard pond. Additionally, they prepared steamed sausages, stir-fried radishes and garlic shoots, scrambled eggs with scallions, sautéed wolfberry shoots, and stir-fried lettuce with garlic, filling the air with the aroma of garlic and fresh vegetables. Chapter 1978. Home life. Although they were all simple home-cooked dishes, their aroma filled the room, evoking a sense of warmth and closeness. Seeing the eager expression on Xiao Xian's face, Miss Fong couldn't help but smile. You must be exhausted from the journey. Dig in, dear. These dishes are just like the ones you used to enjoy at home. Xiao Xian nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. I've been craving home-cooked meals for so long. Miss Fong chuckled. There's nothing like home-cooked food, isn't it? I'll have your sister-in-law cook for you every day. Yang Xiaoni, entering with the last dish, chimed in. Mother, fifth sister-in-law's cooking is truly exceptional. I've even asked her to cook for me. I'm just here to assist and enjoy the food. Just the thought of it makes my mouth water. Ms. Fong scolded Yang Xiaoni jokingly. Stop your chatter. Your fifth sister-in-law is the lady of the house. She shouldn't be cooking for you. We have plenty of servants here, and you can't even order them around. Stop with this nonsense. Yang Xiaoni smiled sheepishly. Oops, my mistake. Fifth sister-in-law, I apologize. Please don't be mad at me. I really didn't mean anything by it. Truly. Xiao Xian chuckled. No need to worry. Third sister-in-law. We're family after all. Then she turned to Ms. Fong with a warm smile. Mom, there's no need to be so formal with me. Cooking at home is a pleasure. I'd love to prepare a meal for you. Don't overexert yourself, dear. We're family. No need for formalities. Let's sit down and eat before the food gets cold. With everyone's agreement, they gathered around the table for dinner. The atmosphere was relaxed and familial, filled with lively conversation and familial warmth. It was a true homecoming experience. After dinner, Anan sought comfort in Xianxia's arms again, prompting Ms. Fong to express concern. She arranged for hot water for Xianxia and her son to wash up and encouraged them to rest for the night. The yard where Xianxia and Xiao Yunduan used to reside remained intact. It was secured when they were away, and it received monthly cleaning and maintenance. Anticipating Xianxia and her son's return, Ms. Fong instructed Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao to tidy up daily, ensuring the windows were open for ventilation and dust was wiped away. Pots of lively flowers adorned the yard, giving it a vibrant ambience despite their absence. Entering the yard with Anan, the nanny, Lixia, and Liqiu, Xiao found everything orderly, evoking a comforting warmth within her heart. Home was home because of this irreplaceable sense of belonging. The night passed sweetly and peacefully. The next morning, after Xiao refreshed herself and exchanged greetings with Ms. Fong and the others, she led Anan, Lixia, Liqiu, and Tao Tao to the backyard to harvest fruits. The air was crisp, carrying a hint of morning chill, while the garden exuded life and freshness. The sight of lush greenery brought joy to their hearts. The fruit trees had noticeably flourished, their thick and tall trunks adorned with luxuriant branches and leaves. Chapter 1979. Warmth. At this time of year, peach blossoms and pear blossoms were on the verge of blooming. Some branches basked in the sunlight, showcasing their beautiful and delicate buds. Others had already sprouted, standing out amidst the evergreen fruit trees. The garden was adorned with various fruits. Peaches and oranges still hung from some trees, their soft white skin blushing pink as they ripened, emitting a sweet fragrance that filled the air. The plump, tangerine-like oranges were particularly eye-catching. Xiao plucked one and handed it to Anan, who eagerly accepted it with both hands and began nibbling, her adorable frown eliciting laughter from everyone. Amidst the bounty were dragon fruits, papayas, and pineapple honey, all ripe and ready for harvest. Xiao filled her basket with the abundant produce. Tao Tao smiled, remarking on the garden's abundance. We have so many fruits that we can't possibly finish them all in a year. We also have dates, crisp persimmons, grapefruits, mangoes, lemons, and pineapple honey in the cellar. Additionally, there are chestnuts, walnuts, peaches, apricots, bayberries, and persimmon cakes, all homemade. I'll give some to fifth sister-in-law later. Xiao nodded with a smile. Our garden truly is a treasure trove. She made a mental note to acquire some fruit saplings from Liuhe Manor upon her return. When she got back, she planned to add a variety of fruit trees to her garden. Although she wasn't sure how long her husband would remain in An's province, it seemed likely he wouldn't depart for the next 3 to 4 years. Besides, An's province was close to Yuzhong, so even if her husband wasn't there, it wouldn't pose a problem. There was no harm in expanding their property holdings. For breakfast that morning, they had steamed buns and porridge. The buns were small but packed with various fillings: dried plum vegetables, cured meat, radish pork, cabbage vermicelli with mutton, mushrooms, celery, pork, chives, eggs, shrimp, and winter bamboo shoots. Fortunately, with many servants at home, they were able to prepare the meal early in the morning. Anan didn't have teeth yet, so Xiao added some chopped spinach into the fish porridge. With a smile, Ms. Fong said to Xiao, I've prepared a bit of everything, and they're not large. Try them all. Xiao's face lit up. Mom, I'll taste them all. I might need to go for round 3. Ms. Fong chuckled at Xiao's appetite. I didn't plan much, just thought we have so many vegetables from our garden and plenty of meat at home, so why not make more fillings? I'll keep them warm and steam one for you whenever you're ready. Xiao felt touched by her mother-in-law's thoughtfulness and nodded appreciatively. In truth, which family would prepare such a variety of fillings? 2 or 3 options were already considered generous. It wasn't like they were making them for sale at a shop. Ms. Fong had gone to the trouble of preparing so many dishes just for their enjoyment. After breakfast, Ms. Fong, along with Xiao and Anan, bearing gifts, went to visit the patriarch, the land officer, and several elders. Their family was here, and it was necessary to build a good relationship with the villagers. Ms. Fong and the others were still living in the village, and the second section of the family and the third section of the family were in a mess, so they might get into trouble from time to time. At this juncture, the villagers' attitudes held significant weight. Their disposition hinged upon the patriarch, the land officer, and the elders. These figures held authority, and no one dared to voice dissent against their judgments. For Xiao Yunduan to navigate his career smoothly, he needed to uphold a sterling reputation. Any dissent from the second and third sections of the family had to be quashed within the village. Chapter 1980. Visit. It took them 2 days to complete their visits and conversations. Xiao Xian's demeanor was gentle, devoid of the airs typically associated with an official's wife. However, perhaps due to her years in such a position and her altered attire from home, she exuded a dignified and reserved aura, commanding respect and dissuading any rudeness. The second branch of the Xiao family could be treated more casually, merely requiring a gift to be sent without the need for a personal visit. Conversely, the third branch was a closer relation, demanding a formal visit. Accompanied by Ms. Fang, Xiao Xian paid her respects to both branches. Taking care to leave Anan behind, Xiao Xian relieved her hosts' concerns upon seeing they hadn't brought the child along. The hosts, Ms. Ma and third uncle, breathed a sigh of relief at the absence of Anan. Not having to entertain the child was a relief, both in terms of appearances and the need to present a gift in greeting, which they could now conveniently omit under the pretense of forgetfulness. As the date of Zhao Shu and Tao Tao's marriage drew nearer, tensions between the third branch and the first section of the family escalated. However, Xiao Lilang's repeated warnings against causing further trouble with the first section kept them in check. Reluctantly, they extended an invitation to Ms. Fang and Xiao Xian to join them in their room. Enduring the humiliation for the sake of their son's future, the two women accepted the invitation. Upon seeing Xiao Xian, Ms. Ma couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. She remarked, "Niece-in-law, you're looking quite refined these days. Much improved from before. Seems like without your in-laws to hold you back, you're living quite comfortably, ha ha ha." Xiao Xian was left speechless. Ms. Fang, both irritated and amused, noted that some people never changed their habit of speaking ill of others. In the past, Ms. Fang might have erupted into a confrontation, but now she chose to remain composed. Despite Ms. Ma's remarks, Xiao Xian remained unruffled. Her heart remained untouched by any ripple. After all, she no longer saw herself on the same level as Ms. Ma. Her family's prosperity and smooth sailing made her uninterested in engaging in any competition. She had no desire to change Ms. Ma's bad habits. "There's no need to worry about that," Xiao Xian replied calmly. "Every mother-in-law cares about their daughter-in-law. I've been through a lot, so it's only natural that I've changed. Besides, I've been managing things with Mr. Qiao and Wulong in An's province. I've guided them on what to say in their letters. And now that I've given birth to a son, of course, I'm not the same as before. I'm feeling much better." Xiao Xian nearly burst into laughter, nodding in exaggerated agreement. "Absolutely, Mom. Ever since Anan was born, I've been so happy. Plus, my husband's career is thriving, and Tao Tao has found such a good family. My parents and siblings are all in good health. Happiness looks good on me." Ms. Fang burst into laughter. "Absolutely." Xiao Xian smiled again. "Honestly, I sometimes wish my mother would control me. She has a lot of wisdom to offer, and am grateful for her guidance. So, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. What third aunt-in-law said doesn't make any sense." Ms. Fang nodded approvingly. "I know you're sensible, not someone who indulges in baseless gossip." Ms. Ma, who was spouting nonsense, fell silent. Chapter 1981. You can brag when that happened. Ms. Ma smiled coldly. She was not satisfied and couldn't help but boast. "By the way, our Lu Lang is on track to become a high-ranking official. He's likely to pass the intermediate exam this year. Serving as an official in the capital is far superior to staying local." Ms. Ma wanted to tout her son's potential to become the primus, but Xiao Lulang had cautioned them multiple times against such presumptuousness, so Ms. Ma had to restrain herself. Ms. Fang smiled indulgently. "You can boast once you've hit the mark." Ms. Ma grew annoyed. "You. All right." Ms. Fang rose from her seat and signaled to Xiao Xian that it was time to leave. "I'm afraid Anan will wake up soon, so we should head home as well. And don't forget to come help us during the wedding." She couldn't bear to witness Ms. Ma's conceited behavior. Xiao Lulang was merely going to the capital for an exam. Those unfamiliar with the situation might think he had already passed the intermediate and was on the verge of becoming an official. Each year, countless scholars journeyed to the capital. Xiao Yunduan's upcoming venture there filled them all with trepidation. He lacked Ms. Moss and her husband's confidence in such matters. Hearing their boastfulness, he feared they might face embarrassment. Ms. Moss snorted dismissively. "Well, see about that." Then she turned to Chao Xian and asked, "Have you made up your mind, sister-in-law? The Zhao family is wealthy and has strict customs, unlike us, a humble countryside family. Any misstep during the wedding could bring ridicule and scorn upon Tao Tao. You needn't worry. I might not understand everything, but Ms. Chao does. The first madam of the Lajing family has sent her trusted housekeeper to accompany Ms. Chao, so she can provide assistance." Ms. Moss' eyes widened in surprise. Then she scoffed. Ms. Chao is young. What could she possibly know about such matters? The Yuezhing family isn't even here. How can we entrust Tao Tao's wedding to a mere servant? Chao Xian couldn't contain her frustration any longer. "Third aunt-in-law, you're mistaken. Auntie Hua, who serves elder aunt, is her right-hand woman and is incredibly knowledgeable. She's no ordinary servant. Her family owns hundreds of acres of land. With her guidance, Tao Tao's marriage will be secure. And if anyone dares to interfere behind her back, I won't stand for it." Ms. Fong grew irritated by Ms. Moss' remarks and retorted sharply, "Auntie Hua is merely offering her assistance. What's wrong with that? Do you think I can't trust the housekeeper appointed by the first madam of the Yuezhing family and instead rely on a landowner's wife? Tao Tao's affairs won't be meddled with by an outsider." Ms. Ma could only watch them leave and spat after a while, muttering, "Ungrateful wretches." Ms. Fong also vented her frustrations to Chao Xian. In a neighboring village, there was a local squire whose son had attempted the cultivated talent examination multiple times without success. The squire hoped to gain favor with the first section of the family, wishing for Xiao Yunduan to intercede with the Lord to help his son advance to the intermediate examination. When the squire's family approached them, Ms. Fong promptly declined the offer and distanced herself from them, despite their persistent attempts. Fortunately, eldest uncle was discerning and made no commitments. But the squire's family persisted. With Tao Tao's impending marriage to Zhao Shu, they assumed the Xiao family was unaware of their connections and sought to enlist Ms. Ma's aid, offering her inducements to act as a middle person. Chapter 1982. She distrusted Ms. Ma. Contemplating the situation, Ms. Ma saw an opportunity to leverage Tao Tao's family affairs to garner a significant favor from the first section of the family. Driven by her keen interest in financial gain, she eagerly pursued this course of action. For Tao Tao's benefit and the benefit of the first section of the family, she persistently urged eldest uncle and Ms. Fong to discuss the matter repeatedly. Eldest uncle, swayed by her persuasion, was deceived by her apparent goodwill. With his impending marriage into the Zhao family looming over him, he harbored insecurities about facing them during the bride retrieval ceremony. He feared making a spectacle of himself and bringing disgrace upon his daughter. In comparison, the country squire seemed more knowledgeable and willing to assist. Wasn't it advantageous for him to lend a hand? However, Ms. Fong remained resolute in her refusal. She harbored deep skepticism about Ms. Ma's intentions. Despite feeling somewhat apprehensive about the situation, she found solace in the fact that Chao Xian would soon return. While she may not fully comprehend the intricacies of the situation, Chao Xian possessed the insight to navigate it effectively. As long as they avoided embarrassing themselves and managed the situation competently, they would weather the storm just fine. Ms. Fong hadn't anticipated Chao Xian's early return, accompanied by the experienced Auntie Hua, which brought her immense relief knowing that Ms. Ma wouldn't meddle in the affairs. Impressed by Chao Xian's thoughtful planning, Ms. Fong couldn't help but express her admiration. With Auntie Hua's guidance, both mother-in-law and daughter-in-law found themselves more at ease, simply following her lead. Auntie Hua initially worried about overstepping her boundaries, but soon realized she needn't fret. Grateful for her assistance, Ms. Fong and Chao Xian wholeheartedly welcomed her involvement. Given the Xiao family's wealth, arrangements were swiftly and smoothly executed, leaving everyone content. Recognizing the lack of necessity, Chao Xian abandoned the notion of visiting the second section of the family, knowing it wouldn't affect the etiquette. It was rather amusing when eldest uncle discreetly approached Chao Xian, hinting at her to visit the second section of the family. Chao Xian couldn't help but chuckle at the situation. Instead of directly responding to eldest uncle's suggestion, she feigned confusion and tactfully brushed off his insinuations, not giving him the opportunity for a private conversation. However, Chao Xian had a close bond with Ms. Yan and Mei Qing, so she extended an invitation for them to dine at her home. Delighted by the invitation, both Ms. Yen and Mei Qing eagerly accepted. Their sons, who were slightly older than Anan, accompanied them. Xiao Xian arranged for the boys to play together with Anan, much to the excitement of all three children. The Yen family's bean products business flourished once again, with stable production and increased sales, thanks to the support from the Yuezhing family. They had become quite renowned in Heshan County. Ms. Yen was very grateful to Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian felt a sense of satisfaction knowing she had made the right decisions in the past. Despite the widespread adoption of cooking methods like rotten bamboo, oilskin, 1,000 pieces, and dried incense, the Yen family's specialty in tofu remained unparalleled. Their bean products boasted the best taste and the most authentic fragrance, making them a leader in the industry. While expanding their operations was challenging, they still managed to firmly secure about a third of the market share, ensuring a prosperous life for the Yen family. The success of the Yen family also brought benefits to the second section of the Xiao family. Xiao Xian took the opportunity to inspect all their properties and utilized her skills to enhance their growth. From flower fields to tea houses, orchards to medicinal herb gardens, each sector thrived under her management. Their businesses expanded, and their families flourished thanks to her efforts. Chapter 1983. The Zhao family arrived in the villages and neighboring areas. Numerous individuals cultivated herb and flower fields. The initial segment of the Xiao family purchased these crops based on their quality, processing and selling the flowers after handling the herbs. Due to the extensive business of the Xiao family, they needed to employ workers year-round for tasks such as soil cultivation, weeding, harvesting, and other responsibilities. Whenever they ventured outdoors, Xiao Xian would bring Anan along. With the warming weather and Anan's agility, she could easily accompany them. The youngster reveled in the outings, displaying boundless joy and curiosity. Near the pond in the Zhang family village, they encountered a school of fish swimming gracefully. Their excitement almost led to an accidental plunge into the water, startling their caregiver and companions. Xiao Xian reminisced about the flavors of spring bamboo shoots, wild greens, mushrooms, and other delicacies. Joining Tao Tao, Yang Xiaoni, and Xiao Sanlang, she ventured into the mountains for hunting expeditions. Despite Qi's absence, Sun Bai and the others' archery prowess was evident. Coupled with Xiao Xian's remarkable abilities, they successfully hunted abundant prey. Fresh wild mutton, venison, pheasant, and wild rabbit, whether stir-fried, stewed, or barbecued, remained delightfully flavorful. Following that, their schedule became increasingly hectic. Tao Tao's marriage into the Zhao family demanded utmost attention. By the end of February, Zhao Shu rendezvoused with his relatives on their journey. More than 20 individuals, encompassing cousins, uncles, aunts, nephews, and servants, eventually reached Heshan County. Accommodating such a large group in Zhao Shu's courtyard proved impractical. Consequently, only a select few elders were invited to stay, while accommodations were arranged at the county inn for the rest. What irked Zhao Shu the most was the unexpected arrival of his half-brothers, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi. Upon sighting them, Zhao Shu's expression darkened noticeably. Zhao Yi remained composed, concealing his emotions in Zhao Shu's presence. However, when Zhao Di observed Zhao Shu's evident fury, he couldn't resist mocking him sarcastically. Zhao Shu, refusing to tolerate the disrespect, promptly considered dismissing him. It was ludicrous how Zhao Di, in his rage, attempted to assume the role of an elder brother, brazenly admonishing Zhao Shu. Before Zhao Di could conclude his reprimand, Zhao Shu impatiently interjected, ridiculing him. "Cousin, how audacious of you! Do you even possess the right to speak of my father?" "My father? Ha, it's common knowledge that he passed away long ago. Am I to blame for being unfilial and failing him?" Zhao Di's embarrassment was palpable, his complexion fluctuating between green and white. Seeing Zhao Shu's envy, Zhao Di felt compelled to lecture him, momentarily forgetting that Zhao Shu was adopted and no longer under their father's authority. After all, wasn't he just an ordinary cousin to Zhao Shu? Zhao Shu sneered. "Cousin, if you're here to stir up trouble, then kindly leave. I'm getting married, not inviting chaos into my life for your amusement." Attempting to defuse the tension, Zhao Di intervened. "Zhao Shu, is this how you treat your family just because you have some wealth? If you disdain us, just say it outright. We won't stay where we're not wanted." In response, Zhao Shu spat at him in disdain. "I'm talking to you, not to them. Why drag others into this? Perhaps I was mistaken in calling you shameless. How can you be shameless when you're simply devoid of decency? I treat my family with far more respect than you ever have. Have you ever looked out for our family's interests? I'll be frank with you. I simply don't care for you. If you dare to cause trouble again, don't expect me to hold back. This has been a trying time for everyone involved. I, Zhao Shu, will undoubtedly repay those who have supported me generously, but you've done nothing of the sort. Who gave you the right to disrupt things? Chapter 1984. Disgusting former brother Zhao Di seethed with anger. Upon hearing Zhao Di's grievances, the other family members rallied to his side, empathizing with his plight. Hastily, they intervened, whisking him away before he could utter another word. Naturally, Zhao Di couldn't simply depart without a plan. Aware of Zhao Shu's volatile temper, he understood that further agitation would only result in expulsion. Thus, he begrudgingly swallowed his indignation, opting not to provoke Zhao Shu any further during their journey. This concession left Zhao Shu feeling somewhat remorseful. Secretly, he harbored a desire for Zhao Di to misstep, providing him with a justification to take action. Upon their arrival at Heshan County, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi were promptly lodged at the inn. Despite being adopted, they felt entitled to better treatment. Their relegation to the inn left them discontented. Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing had diligently made preparations. Upon the Zhao family's arrival in Heshan County, they merely needed to rest briefly before the groom's arrival. Promptly upon his arrival, Zhao Shu dispatched a missive to the primary branch of the family. The following day, Zhao Shu's 2 uncles and 2 aunts made their way to Shaoding village to confer with Ms. Fong, eldest uncle, and other members of the Xiao family regarding the wedding arrangements. This face-to-face discussion was deemed necessary. Thanks to Zhao Shu's prior correspondence, the first branch of the family was well prepared for the impending visit from the Zhao family. Upon the arrival of Zhao Shu's relatives, the courtyard of the first branch was meticulously cleaned, and everyone donned their finest attire, elevating their usual appearance without appearing ostentatious or out of place. Though not as affluent as Zhao Shu, the first branch of the Xiao family still enjoyed a level of prosperity far surpassing that of any other household in the village. However, when Uncle Zhao Shu and company departed for the village, Zhao Di somehow caught wind of their plans and insisted on tagging along. Despite Uncle Zhao Shu's attempts to dissuade him, Zhao Di stubbornly persisted, eventually relenting only when it became apparent that he wouldn't be allowed to accompany them. Consequently, when one of Uncle Qing's subordinates introduced Zhao Di as his young master's cousin, Qiao Xian couldn't suppress a silent sneer at the sight of him. Zhao Di was unfamiliar with Qiao Xian, just as she was with him. While Qiao Xian had deceived the Zhao family, she had no prior acquaintance with Zhao Di beyond knowing his name. However, Qiao Xian could discern Zhao Di's demeanor from the moment he set foot in the courtyard. His scrutinizing and disdainful expression spoke volumes. Ms. Fong and eldest uncle remained oblivious to Zhao Di's intentions, extending warm greetings to the Zhao family, along with Ms. Su and Xiao Dalong. They failed to detect any hint of animosity from Zhao Di. Unlike the others, Yang Xiaoni didn't appear naive. Despite the cordial reception extended by Ms. Fong and eldest uncle, she sensed something amiss with Zhao Di's attitude. Tugging at Qiao Xian's sleeve, she whispered, "Fifth sister-in-law, that's young Master Zhao's cousin. Why does he seem to harbor ill feelings and look down upon us?" Qiao Xian was taken aback but offered a reassuring smile to Yang Xiaoni. "I believe you, Yang Xiaoni. I'm not doubting your observations." Sensing Yang Xiaoni's earnestness, Qiao Xian continued, "I understand your love for Tao Tao, and I know you wouldn't speak ill of the Zhao family without cause. I witnessed it too. The eye-rolling and disdainful expression. You're right to be concerned. Who would roll their eyes at a wedding, after all?" Chapter 1985. What does he mean? Qiao Xian chuckled softly and whispered, "Third sister-in-law, rest assured I believe you. Truth be told, I noticed it too." "Thank you." Yang Xiaoni sighed in relief. "But what do you think he's up to?" Qiao Xian's expression turned sardonic. "He's certainly scheming something. Every family has someone like him, though I can't fathom how he made it onto the Zhao family's guest list. But don't worry, he won't cause any trouble." Yang Xiaoni, reassured by Qiao Xian's confidence, smiled gratefully. "That's a relief." The 2 women then entered the room and took their seats beside Ms. Fong. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Li Xia and Li Qiu, who brought in tea. As Uncle and Aunt Zhao surveyed the courtyard and the dwelling of the first branch of the Xiao family, and noted the attire of its members, they couldn't help but feel a sense of superiority. While they couldn't match Zhao Shu's wealth, boasting only 100 mu of land and a couple of servants, having hailed from affluent Jiangnan, they possessed broader perspectives than the denizens of this remote countryside. Although the living conditions of the first branch of the Xiao family surpassed those of typical rural households, Uncle and Aunt Zhao didn't regard them highly. He sighed inwardly, perplexed by Zhao Shu's decision. Why did he insist on marrying a woman from such a distant and humble background? Even if he claimed to admire her family and their ties to a prefect lord, was it really necessary? If Zhao Shu truly desired it, obtaining the consent of the magistrate might pose a challenge, but marrying into the legitimate daughter of the county magistrate's family wouldn't be impossible. Fortunately, he was adopted. Otherwise, his wife would likely be subjected to mistreatment in that grand mansion. While they could attempt to persuade Zhao Shu, they couldn't compel him to change his mind. Given the circumstances, they could only offer their support. After all, they weren't the ones getting married. Besides, this visit wouldn't be without its benefits. Zhao Shu was undeniably generous. Initially dismissing the significance of the tea service, they assumed it would be of low quality, given the rural setting. Surely, it would consist of nothing more than ordinary tea leaves, resulting in a bitter and astringent brew. Initially, he hadn't planned to indulge, merely taking a polite sip of the tea as a gesture of respect towards the Xiao family. However, upon the arrival of the tea, he was taken aback by the exquisite white porcelain tea set adorned with delicate floral motifs, a sight reminiscent of broken branches and blooming flowers. The porcelain was pristine and smooth as snow. Within the teacup, a faint purple hue danced, the liquid crystal clear, exuding a rich tea fragrance tinged with a delightful essence of roses. Upon closer inspection, a subtle medicinal aroma wafted from the brew, inducing a sense of relaxation and joy. The harmonious unity of the tea set's design only added to its aesthetic appeal. Moreover, the tantalizing aroma of the tea proved irresistible, prompting him to take another sip to fully savor its flavor. The tea was invigorating, leaving a refreshing sensation and a feeling of renewed energy. With each sip, the fragrance grew more pure and delightful, eliciting silent praise. Never had he anticipated encountering such exceptional tea in the countryside. Zhao Shu and his uncles had never experienced this tea before. While Zhao Di, having been affluent previously, had sampled it on occasion. Merely from the aroma and hue of the tea, Zhao Di could surmise its identity. Yet he found it difficult to believe. It wasn't until he tasted it that his suspicions were confirmed. I never imagined I'd encounter supreme-grade purple fragrance here today. This tea fetches a hefty sum of 30 taels of silver in Jiangnan. It seems Zhao Shu truly holds the Yu family in high esteem. Ha ha ha. The revelation left Zhao Shu and his uncles stunned. Supreme-grade purple fragrance? Could it truly be the renowned purple fragrance they were familiar with? Chapter 1986. Dumbfounded upon hearing Zhao Di's confirmation, it became undeniable. Not only was it purple fragrance, but it was also of the highest quality. Supreme-grade purple fragrance. Valued at 30 taels of silver per tael, equivalent to an astonishing 300 taels of silver per catty. It was worth noting that the tea they typically consumed at home cost only a little over 10 taels of silver per catty. Even then, they weren't particularly keen on splurging. More often than not, they settled for tea leaves priced at 5 to 6 taels of silver per catty, indulging in finer varieties on rare occasions. Zhao Shu's willingness to offer such luxury was remarkable. Teske. He had never shown such filial piety before. The Xiao family must be exceptionally fortunate. For a moment, a sense of unease settled upon them. Ms. Fong interjected, surprised by the revelation. We cultivate these tea leaves ourselves. It's not because of Shu. Qiao Xian, with a knowing smile, replied, Mom, they're guests. They're not aware of our affairs. Turning towards the Zhao family, she continued, We operate a sizable tea house spanning nearly 2,000 mu, cultivating both golden sprout and purple fragrance varieties. We reserve the finest tea leaves for our own family each year, and as our esteemed guests, it's only fitting that we serve you the best. Zhao Shu and his uncles were left speechless. Zhao Di's smile appeared strained, his skepticism evident. He forced a smile and remarked, Your family's tea house exclusively cultivates these two tea varieties? They're quite rare. tea seedlings aren't readily available. Could it be that you've been misled? Xiao chuckled softly. Every year, reputable businessmen from Yuzhong province come to purchase our tea leaves. Golden Sprout typically fetches around 40 taels of silver per caddy, while Purple Fragrance goes for about 100 taels of silver per caddy. Embarrassment washed over Zhao Di, rendering him speechless. He managed to force another smile and conceded, "Well, in that case, you truly are fortunate. Zhao Shu must have provided these tea seedlings for your family, right? He's been quite generous to the Yu family, haha." Qiao Xian, wearing a puzzled expression, responded, "Why would you assume that? Our tea house was established before we met Zhao Shu." Zhao Di felt deflated. Unable to contain his curiosity, he inquired, "Where did you obtain the tea seedlings then?" With a gentle smile, Qiao Xian replied, "It's a rather lengthy tale. My husband procured a batch of tea seeds from a merchant, and we nurtured them ourselves. We didn't have high expectations, but all the tea seeds sprouted beautifully. My husband and sister-in-law are incredibly fortunate. They make an excellent match for young Master Zhao." Everyone laughed. Ms. Fang's delight was palpable, her smile radiant as she exchanged a meaningful glance with Qiao Xian. Unable to refute Ms. Fang's words, the uncles of the Zhao family joined in with compliments for Tao Tao, their smiles masking any lingering discomfort. Feeling slighted, Zhao Di couldn't comprehend how this discussion related to Zhao Shu's fiancée. Why was she receiving praise? "Well, your family certainly seems fortunate. With your wealth, why haven't you purchased a home in the city and relocated? Living in a village can be quite inconvenient." Ms. Fang's expression soured at the suggestion. "There are benefits to rural life as well. The villagers here are incredibly welcoming. This village is the foundation of our Xiao family. How could we simply uproot ourselves? Even if we're not lacking in funds, we mustn't forget our roots." Qiao Xian chimed in. "My mother speaks the truth. However, we do own properties in the county and the province. We can comfortably reside here whenever necessary." Zhao Di found himself at a loss for words. Chapter 1987. Things are no longer the same. The uncle of the Zhao family shot Zhao Di a warning glance, then swiftly changed the subject, steering the conversation towards the upcoming wedding day. Despite refraining from vocalizing it, Zhao Di couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. The Xiao family seemed to possess a veritable treasure trove, abounding with tea mountains, gold mines, and a son who had risen to prominence as a primus. Moreover, the members of this family didn't appear to be ignorant or simple-minded. It became clear why Zhao Shu was adamant about marrying into this family. They had gathered to celebrate a joyous occasion, not to indulge in mockery directed at Zhao Di. If he persisted in making unwarranted remarks, he risked offending the Xiao family and incurring Zhao Shu's wrath. Even if Qiao Xian chose to overlook his behavior, Zhao Di couldn't expect leniency or favor in the future. While others might underestimate the Xiao family, Qiao Xian, being an official's wife, possessed keen discernment. Despite Zhao Di's thinly veiled sarcasm, he couldn't outsmart her. Action needed to be taken. Though seething with anger and resentment, Zhao Di dared not defy the elders of his clan. He could only clench his jaw in frustration and keep his thoughts to himself. The circumstances had changed drastically. Their family had fallen from grace, relegated to a small town far from Yangzhou. They now had to eke out a living tending to meager farmland and a handful of struggling shops. Who cared about these pretentious elites and highbrow individuals in the clan anymore? Now, they were all scrambling to ingratiate themselves with that despicable Zhao Shu. Even the impoverished peasants of the Xiao family were shamelessly trying to win their favor. Once again, Zhao Di harbored resentment towards his father. Why did he ever agree to let Zhao Shu be adopted? Why did he consent? If not for that decision, Zhao Shu wouldn't hold such sway today. With Zhao Di refraining from stirring up trouble, the two families conversed amiably. Auntie Hua offered guidance, while Qiao Xian facilitated the discussion. Everything proceeded smoothly, and the Zhao family was thoroughly impressed by the Xiao family's thorough preparation. With the plans settled, there was little cause for concern. All they had to do now was await the wedding day. After the discussion, Ms. Fong and eldest uncle extended an invitation for lunch, which the Zhao family graciously accepted. Ms. Fong promptly arranged a room for their guests to rest in and instructed Ms. Su to escort them there to relax. She assured them she would summon them when lunch was ready. Following the lengthy deliberation, the Zhao family grew weary. They expressed their satisfaction with Ms. Fang's considerate arrangements and conveyed their gratitude with warm smiles. In the designated rest area, hot tea accompanied by an array of fruits and snacks awaited them. While the tea remained supreme-grade purple fragrance, the snacks appeared to be standard fare, likely procured from the county city. However, the freshly peeled and sliced peaches, juicy oranges, diced dragon fruits, pears, cantaloupes, washed blueberries, and honey-drenched pineapple were exceptionally enticing. Some of the fruits were unfamiliar to them, leaving them intrigued. Learning that these fruits hailed from the Zhao family's orchard only heightened their admiration and stirred their emotions further. Upon sampling the fruits, they were met with a burst of fragrance, freshness, and sweetness. Impressed, they showered the offerings with praise, acknowledging their exceptional quality and refraining from underestimating them in any way. What the Zhao family possessed, they lacked, leaving no room for disdain. Lunch was served with separate seating arrangements for men and women, each group seated in the dining hall and the flower hall respectively. Despite the segregation, the meal consisted of identical fare, 12 dishes and a soup. Chapter 1988. He has no good intentions. Aware of their guests' origins from Jiangnan, Xiao Xian instructed the preparation of light dishes for lunch. The spread included steamed mandarin fish, tea-flavored shrimp, white-cut chicken, white meat with garlic paste, and sea cucumber with scallions, among others. As they were about to commence the meal, Zhao Di was conspicuously absent. He had purportedly gone for a stroll in the village, prompting Xiao Dalong and Xiao Sanlang to retrieve him for dinner. Upon locating Zhao Di, Xiao Sanlang found him engaged in conversation with 5th Grandma Ding, who appeared animated and pointedly addressing him. Aware of the strained relationship between their families, Xiao Sanlang refrained from intervening, simply escorting Zhao Di back home. Throughout the journey, Zhao Di exhibited an air of smugness, as if he held something over Xiao Sanlang. He stole several furtive glances at him along the way. Upon reconvening for dinner, the Zhao family was taken aback by the sight of the sumptuous spread before them. However, reflecting on the Xiao family's extensive tea house, they surmised the source of the lavish meal. With a tea house boasting a vast supply of supreme-grade purple fragrance and golden sprout, it was only natural for the Xiao family to present a table laden with exquisite dishes. The unexpectedly delectable flavors further heightened the Zhao family's satisfaction. Following the meal, the Zhao family departed contentedly, both parties parting ways on amicable terms, eagerly anticipating the upcoming wedding. Before bidding farewell, the Xiao family graciously bestowed gifts upon the 2 aunts of the Zhao family, who received them with heartfelt gratitude. As for Zhao Di, he was not seen off as an elder, for he did not hold such a status. Ms. Feng harbored no fondness for this particular young master of the Zhao family, finding him incessantly vexing and prone to causing trouble. Yet, she hesitated over the decision to exclude him. However, Xiao Xian reassured her with a smile, urging her not to fret. The gift, traditionally given out of filial respect, held little significance if omitted by ordinary individuals. Xiao Xian was keenly aware of the underlying motives. She was certain that Zhao Di hadn't been part of the planned visit. Rather, he had surreptitiously trailed them here. His intentions were far from noble. Given the circumstances, why should they tolerate his presence, let alone extend the courtesy of a gift? They wouldn't offer him so much as a single blade of grass. Trusting Xiao Xian's judgment implicitly, Ms. Feng felt a wave of relief wash over her. Once inside the carriage, the 2 aunts of the Zhao family eagerly unpacked the gifts. Inside the larger box were 2 jars of tea leaves, one containing supreme-grade purple fragrance and the other golden sprout, each weighing approximately 500 grams. The smaller box contained 2 lipsticks. The 2 aunties were elated at the gifts. While lipsticks were available in Jiangnan, they were in high demand and carried a hefty price tag of 50 taels of silver each. Such luxury items were beyond their means, even with their modest income from the farm. Although they were no longer in their prime and couldn't make use of the lipsticks themselves, they knew their daughters would be thrilled to receive such coveted items. The uncles of the Zhao family shared in the joy, marveling at the quality of the tea. They couldn't help but admire the Xiao family's generosity. Observing their effusive praise for the Xiao family, Zhao Di seethed with jealousy and irritation. After all, the Xiao family hadn't presented him with a gift. Not that he cared about such trivialities, but he couldn't shake off the feeling of discontent over being excluded from the gesture. Zhao Di couldn't contain his frustration, muttering, "They're just country bumpkins. How dare they be so stingy? A mere tea house with a few thousand mu of land? They're deliberately treating us differently. Even though I'm not destitute, they clearly don't take the Zhao family seriously." Chapter 1989. These bastards. The uncles and aunts of the Zhao family were jubilantly praising the Xiao family, envisioning future gatherings where they could entertain guests with the exquisite tea leaves. Thus, Zhao Dis' disparaging remark, "I'm so poor I can only rely on these tea leaves," struck a discordant note. Uncle Zhao reprimanded him sternly. "Enough. If you persist in finding fault where there is none, I won't tolerate it if you embarrass yourself and bring ridicule upon the Zhao family." The aunt chimed in with a smile. "They made it clear that this gesture is to honor the elders, and you're not one. You needn't see us off. Moreover, you had no business coming here today." With these words, they cast reproachful glances at Zhao Di. This troublemaker knew exactly what he was doing. Thankfully, he hadn't caused any major disturbances today. Otherwise, how would they answer to Zhao Shu? Firmly, she scolded Zhao Di and warned him sternly against repeating such behavior. If he failed to mend his ways, she'd be forced to discipline him herself. Zhao Di seethed with anger, hatred, and frustration. He sneered and retorted, "Do you think I wanted to come? It's all because of my father's orders." Someone with a clear conscience is eager to snatch assets in front of an unfilial son, yet my father still pines for him and insists we inspect this family's background. We couldn't refuse, could we? It's not like an unfilial son can disobey. Enough. Uncle Zhao's voice cut through the air, his expression icy. Sorting out family affairs is no easy task. I have no interest in discussing your family's matters, but Zhao Shu is here for the bride, so cut it out. Don't spout nonsense about unfilial sons. Zhao Shu has long been adopted. Your father is not his father. If you keep up this foolishness, I'll have someone escort you back immediately. Do you understand? Veins pulsated on Zhao Di's forehead as he clenched his fists, consumed by hatred and jealousy. These hypocrites. Once the wealthiest man in Yangzhou City, these people had once sought his favor. Now that his family had fallen from grace, they'd shifted their stance. It was nothing but taking advantage of Zhao Shu to target him, albeit in a polite guise. Zhao Di dared not argue with the elders of the family, yet his dissatisfaction simmered beneath a forced smile. "Uncle, rest assured. I'm not that unreliable. But I've heard some things from the village. The Xiao family isn't an easy bunch to get along with. Word has it that Zhao Shu had his eye on a girl from the third branch of the Xiao family, but she was snatched away by the first section of the family." The elders of the Zhao family were taken aback. Such rumors existed? They had been completely unaware. Seizing the opportunity, Zhao Di felt a surge of self-satisfaction. He had been ready to embellish the tale and tarnish Tao Tao's reputation, thereby souring the Zhao family clan's impression of her. However, before he could elaborate, he was interrupted by the Zhao family aunt. With Zhao Shu's character, he can't be easily manipulated by others. Don't spread baseless rumors on account of mere hearsay. If Zhao Shu catches wind of this, it won't end well. We all know how much Zhao Shu values this girl from the Xiao family. How could he have favored someone else first and then turned his attention to her? Either you've been fed some nonsense, or there's been a misunderstanding. Exactly. I saw the girl from the Xiao family today. She's quite pleasant. It's no wonder Zhao Shu took a liking to her. Agreed. Chapter 1990. How could Zhao Shu bear with it? A few elders reprimanded Zhao Di, cautioning him to mind his words, lest he incur Zhao Shu's wrath, a fate he wouldn't relish. However, the Zhao family elders paid little heed to Zhao Di's remarks. What audacity! Given Zhao Shu's background, envy was to be expected. Rumors were bound to circulate. They were only aware that Zhao Shu attached great importance to this marriage and had earnestly invited them to participate. Their role was to assist in ensuring the wedding proceeded smoothly. As for Zhao Di's family, when they were affluent, they hadn't extended any support to their relatives. Now that their fortunes had waned, why bother? Furthermore, given Zhao Di's apparent attempt to sow discord, they were not inclined to entertain it. Zhao Di was deserving of being sidelined, left out in the cold. To their surprise, the coachman had overheard Zhao Di's words and promptly relayed them to Zhao Shu upon their return. Would Zhao Shu tolerate such behavior? He never imagined that Zhao Di would dare to venture to Xiaoding village alone. Thankfully, his plan didn't succeed. Otherwise, what impression would the Xiao family have of him? Engaging in a public dispute over this matter wouldn't bode well. If Zhao Di insisted on pretending to be concerned and made him out to be the villain, there was little he could do. Zhao Shu opted not to engage in open confrontation. Instead, he instructed his trusted aides to hire a few individuals to confront Zhao Di and Zhao Yi in a secluded alley. After a thrashing, they bound the brothers tightly and hauled them off to a dim, solitary room. In their bruised and terrified state, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi's eyes betrayed their fear upon seeing Zhao Shu. Refusing to appear weak in front of Zhao Shu, Zhao Di forced a semblance of dignity and spat out bitterly. "Zhao Shu, you're truly ruthless. You orchestrated this against us. Once father learns of this, he won't spare you." Zhao Shu scoffed derisively. "Your father can do as he pleases. If you find your life too comfortable now, feel free to provoke me any time. Face one, I'll handle one. Bring two, I'll deal with both." Zhao Yi interjected. "We traveled all this way to attend your wedding celebration. Is this how you repay us?" Zhao Shu pointed accusatorily at Zhao Di. "Then you should ask your dear elder brother what he's done. While I initially overlooked you and couldn't be bothered, your continued provocations leave me no choice. You needn't attend my wedding. Just stay put." Zhao Shu paid no heed to Zhao Yi's protests and swiftly departed, leaving instructions for someone to keep watch over the two brothers. What use were such nuisances if not to be dealt with? Zhao Yi suppressed his frustration and turned to Zhao Di for an explanation. With a face contorted in anger, Zhao Di didn't mince words. Through gritted teeth, he recounted his actions. Zhao Yi's expression darkened. "Brother, your actions were rash." Sneering, Zhao Di retorted. "I couldn't stand his smug demeanor. I wanted to make things difficult for him." Seeing Zhao Di's unyielding stance, Zhao Yi closed his eyes, choosing to remain silent. Originally, Zhao Yi had planned to deliver a substantial blow on the day of Zhao Shu's wedding, hoping to sabotage the marriage and potentially turn the Xiao family against Zhao Shu. Aware of the Xiao family's prominence and the influence of Lord Xiao in An's province, he saw an opportunity for his family to reclaim the assets Zhao Shu had seized. Yet, all his plans were shattered by his brother's impulsive actions. Desperate to leave, Zhao Yi attempted to reason with the guards, all of whom were Zhao Shu's trusted aides. But they remained stoically silent, offering no response beyond their basic duties of delivering meals and ensuring the brothers' basic needs were met. Chapter 1991. Wedding. As for Zhao Yi's attempts at pleading and his benevolent request for assistance in delivering a message to Zhao Shu, they were simply ignored. As for Zhao Shu, he did not visit after that day. He was preoccupied with preparing for his role as the groom. How could he find the time to entertain such requests? The Zhao clan members quickly realized that Zhao Di and Zhao Yi had vanished. When questioned, Zhao Shu casually mentioned that they had prior engagements and had departed. No one pressed the matter further, knowing the temperament of the Zhao family. In no time, it was the day of the bridal escort. On this busy day, both sides were bustling early in the morning. At the Xiao family's estate, Tao Tao, as the bride-to-be, rose at dawn to bathe, change into her ceremonial attire, and adorn herself. While an ordinary countryside girl might not observe such elaborate rituals, Tao Tao, now marrying into the affluent Zhao Shu's family as the sister of the prefect lord, meticulously followed tradition. Fortunately, Auntie Hua was well versed in the procedure, and everyone followed her arrangements diligently. In Heshan County City, Zhao Shu was brimming with joy. He asked repeatedly if it was time, eliciting teasing remarks from everyone around him. Finally, the moment arrived. With a radiant smile, he swiftly mounted his horse, prompting even more playful banter. Amidst the spirited beats of drums, the bridal escort procession embarked towards Xiaoding village. As the bridal entourage approached, eager onlookers who had rushed out to catch a glimpse hastily dashed back to the village to spread the news. The first section of the Xiao family also received word. As the procession entered the village, the already jubilant music of the bridal entourage soared to even greater heights. Encircled by villagers and delighted children darting around, the atmosphere brimmed with liveliness and merriment. Since the uncles and aunts of the Zhao family had previously visited Xiaoding village and received such generous gifts, they spoke highly of the Xiao family in front of their fellow clansmen. Furthermore, with Zhao Di and Zhao Yi detained by Zhao Shu's orders, there were no disruptions to spoil the smooth proceedings. Today, everything unfolded seamlessly, unlike the previous occasion when Zhao Di had caused trouble with his sarcasm. Symbolically blocking the door, Zhao Shu successfully entered the first section of the family's house. Amidst the laughter and well wishes, he finally approached his bride. As Tao Tao was veiled in red and carried onto the bridal sedan chair by Xiao Dalong, Zhao Shu's eyes remained fixed on her, his smile beaming with delight. With the bride's departure from the pavilion, the dowries followed in a grand procession, numbering a staggering 99. The villagers of Xiaoding, as well as the Zhao clan members, were left astounded and impressed. The wealth of the Xiao family was truly remarkable. Initially, there were skeptics among the villagers who doubted the tales shared by the visiting uncles and aunties from the Zhao family. However, witnessing the extravagant display of wealth firsthand, they had no choice but to accept the truth. Even though a significant portion of the dowry comprised gifts bestowed by Zhao Shu, the Xiao family's generosity was unmistakable. Moreover, they had procured the rest of the dowry with their own resources. Accompanied by Ms. Fang's family, the bridal entourage was escorted to the village's entrance. As they watched the procession depart joyfully, Ms. Fang couldn't help but feel a mixture of emotions. Happiness and relief mingled with sadness and nostalgia. Tao Tao, her beloved daughter, was now a wife belonging to another family. Chapter 1992. Ms. Ma is getting more enthusiastic. Chao Xian and Yang Xiaoni tactfully ignored mother-in-law's teary eyes, choosing instead to offer comforting words about Tao Tao's bright future. Their laughter helped ease the tension, and Ms. Fang visibly relaxed. Realizing that crying on such a joyful occasion wouldn't be appropriate, Ms. Fang regained her composure. She took solace in the fact that Tao Tao was marrying into a family where she wouldn't be mistreated. If Tao Tao ever wished to return, she could do so freely, maintaining contact with her birth family. With spirits lifted, Ms. Fang invited everyone to return to the banquet. Despite initial reluctance from Ms. Ma and third uncle, they couldn't afford to snub the event. The thought of the first section of the family seizing the marriage left them feeling aggrieved. However, boycotting the celebration would only fuel rumors of discord within their own branch of the family. How could this be tolerated? The couple begrudgingly accepted their fate. Xiao Xiaoji remained absent throughout the entire affair. Ever since her unsettling encounter with Zhao Shu, she couldn't bear to dwell on thoughts of him. Though she still harbored a secret admiration, it was tainted with other less savory emotions. Nevertheless, she couldn't shake her resentment towards Tao Tao. As Tao Tao's grand wedding unfolded, Xiao Xiaoji refused to attend out of spite. And Ms. Ma, understanding her daughter's feelings, didn't push her to go. If anyone inquired, they would be informed that Xiao Xiaoji was unwell and resting at home. When questioned about Xiao Xiaota's absence, Ms. Ma's response dripped with jealousy. Suspecting ulterior motives behind the inquiry, she haughtily proclaimed that her Xiaoji wasn't in a rush. Once her husband Lu Lang ascended to a high-ranking position in the capital, they would secure a prestigious match for Xiaoji from an official family. If a brother who has risen to a high position doesn't look out for his sister, then who will? They share the same blood. Xiaoji must marry into an official's family. No question about it. The status of an official's wife is prestigious and esteemed. Who wouldn't show respect to her? She's in a league of her own compared to mere rich folks and businessmen. Ms. Ma's fervor only intensified as she spoke, displaying a clear disdain for businessmen. Her words left the relative who had inquired feeling deeply embarrassed. He wanted to interject, but found himself at a loss. To be frank, his question had been rather casual. He never anticipated Ms. Ma would seize upon it as an opportunity to expound on Tao Tao's husband. Had he known better, he wouldn't have asked at all. The others at the same table felt a similar sense of discomfort. Even if there were a couple of curious onlookers who were intrigued by the drama, they dared not utter a word. Better to simply listen and avoid stirring the pot. Nobody wanted to risk Ms. Ma's ire. Not everyone possessed Ms. Ma's audacity, nor did they share her lack of tact. Why did she choose the wedding banquet to air her grievances? Ms. Fang and Chao Xian remained oblivious to the underlying tension. Ms. Ma's continued commentary proved futile. It was evident to everyone that her remarks stemmed from jealousy. But Ms. Fang silently removed 2 items she had intended to include in Xiao Xiaota's dowry. If you hold merchants in contempt, then don't accept gifts procured through their commerce. As the festivities drew to a close, relatives and friends dispersed, leaving the household to tidy up. By the time dusk fell, the chores were mostly completed. Chapter 1993. This begins while the house fell silent. It also seemed to be empty. Without Tao Tao, everyone was not used to it. However, no one said anything. Everyone was trying their best to adapt. Ms. Fang's gaze fell upon Anan, Xiao Qing, Xiao Junyan, and the other grandchildren. Her expression softened, and she smiled, a sense of relief washing over her. Indeed, wasn't it so? While his children had already begun their own families, there were still his grandchildren. The household would soon be bustling with life again. Upon their return home, the sight of Zhao Shu with Tao Tao filled Ms. Fang, eldest uncle, and the others with joy. Their hearts swelled as they witnessed Zhao Shu's tender care for Tao Tao, and the respectful demeanor of the Zhao family servants towards her. Ms. Fang felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Ms. Qiao had been right. Their family could provide Tao Tao with support and a solid foundation, but her future livelihood would ultimately be in her own hands. From all indications, this was a promising beginning. As Tao Tao and Zhao Shu prepared to depart, serving tea and bidding farewell, it was clear that they needed to return to the Zhao family promptly. Zhao Shu had the responsibility of introducing Tao Tao to the elders and the broader family lineage, tasks of utmost importance that couldn't be delayed. Both Ms. Fang and eldest uncle concurred with this decision. After a lively lunch, Ms. Fang took Tao Tao aside, holding her hand as they conversed privately. She imparted advice, guiding Tao Tao on what lay ahead. Later, Tao Tao informed Xiao Xian that she and Zhao Shu planned to visit fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law in An's province after departing from the Zhao family clan. Xiao Xian nodded approvingly, his smile warm. No need to worry. I believe brother-in-law enjoys exploring too. Take your time. We'll meet eventually. As the clock struck past 4 in the afternoon, Tao Tao reluctantly bid farewell, unable to linger any longer. With Zhao Shu by her side, she departed. Ms. Fang remained in a daze even after Tao Tao's departure. Her little Tao Tao was truly married now. Initially, Ms. Fang had assumed that Xiao Xian and her son would return to An's province after Tao Tao's departure, leaving her feeling disheartened. The sudden departure of everyone all at once was difficult for her to accept. Upon hearing Xiao Xian's announcement that she would stay home for another 7 or 8 days, Ms. Fang couldn't contain her joy and readily agreed. During those subsequent days, Xiao Xian wandered around the estate once more, paying particular attention to the flower field and the tea house. Tao Tao had been responsible for overseeing the flower field, and upon her departure, she entrusted it to Chunyu. As Tao Tao's assistant, Chunyu was well versed in every aspect of the task, and her heart brimmed with joy at the responsibility bestowed upon her. Meanwhile, Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni expressed eagerness to assist but soon realized they lacked the expertise to fulfill Tao Tao's duties, ultimately resigning from the endeavor. Handing over the responsibility to Chunyu was deemed a wise decision. Both Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni felt that as long as it wasn't entrusted to someone else, everything would be fine. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing for them to handle. Xiao Xian stayed at home for a few more days and stayed at First Madame's place for 3 days. She checked the orchards outside the city, and it was almost April when she returned to the state city of An's. After a lengthy journey, they were finally reunited. Xiao Yunduan remained with Xiao Xian for a few days. Late spring had already ushered in scorching temperatures. Within the final stretch of spring, various flowers and trees brimmed with energy, preparing for the impending summer. The air hung heavy with the sweet scent of blossoms, inducing a sense of lethargy and drowsiness. It was a time when warmth enveloped everything, coaxing people into a state of relaxation, disinclined to engage in any activity. Following a period of rest and recuperation, Xiao Xian caught up with Songshi, Mian Mian, and the others. Subsequently, she summoned Kai Yue and Kai Hua, inquiring about any transpired events within the mansion during her absence.